Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the opening part of What If Goku Had the Monkey God's Powers. Please like the video if you haven't already and subscribe. It's totally free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. There's nothing much else I'd like to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jet. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Before I begin, I just wanted to give a quick overview on who the Monkey God is. Here I'm not referring to Sun Wukong, but instead Hanumanji. Hanuman is a deity within Hinduism and possesses a wide range of very interesting, powerful abilities. The abilities basically pertain to the limitless potential that he possesses because of transcending ordinary physical limitations. Firstly, I went through several resources and noted that the abilities he was stated to have differed greatly. Upon conducting further research, I found out that this was because in Hinduism, certain divine individuals granted Hanuman with so-called boons, granting him certain overpowered abilities that literally just made him a god of gods. Instead, I'll focus on the abilities that Hanuman seems to possess himself, along with the single boon granted to him by Lord Brahma. This is the ability of invulnerability and immortality. Here is a list of the abilities that Goku possesses. Firstly, as I stated before, he is invulnerable to ordinary physical harm and also doesn't age, so he is immortal. Hanuman has immense physical strength, notably seen through his ability to cross entire oceans in a single jump. Penultimately, he has mastery over a wide range of so-called celestial weapons like the mighty mace and divine bow. These allow him to battle and defeat demons who likely possess a similar durability against ordinary physical damage. Or maybe they might just be able to physically harm him. Back on planet Vegeta in Bardock's compact cozy home, Goku is placed in the Saiyan nursing capsule. When they do this, they see that Goku almost gives off a special gleam. They wonder what that's about, then they go up to him and try and read his power level using a scouter. Upon doing so, Bardock's scouter reading continues to rise. It ends up breaking on his face as he sees this. Bardock looks to Gine and they can't believe how strong their young Goku is. Time passes and they just try and piece everything together. Scouters never break unless they try to scan something that is just too powerful. Frieza's power has been said to near the scouter's limit on planet Vegeta, but Goku has somehow beat even that. Not a single scouter has actually broken due to trying to read a power that was too high. One day they hear commotion outside their home of a few Saiyans catching a weird signature from inside before their scouters simultaneously break. This is a low-class Saiyan's home. Our scouters had to be bugging or something. It must have been a software bug, a Saiyan announces. How could that be possible? We're all sensing the same signature from the same place even though we're not standing in the same place. There has to be something in there, another Saiyan claims. Bardock hides Gine, who looks startled and they look quite scared. However, they leave and they return to being calm. Across the planet in King Vegeta's throne room, the Saiyans approach the dais beneath his feet. "Sir, we believe there is an odd power signature on the planet. I think we should check it out," one of the Saiyans claims. "So you've been getting this odd power too?" "Yes, check it with new scouters. If the signature is a youngling, make sure that they are sent off this world," King Vegeta orders. He can't have anybody potentially overpowering his own son. He needs to make sure that his son remains the strongest and keeps the throne. Therefore, he wants to deprive those children of their ability to grow stronger by isolating them. These same Saiyans raid Bardock's home, but the foreseeing Saiyan already knows what is happening. Across the planet, Bardock has Goku in his own Saiyan pod and is readying himself to send him off-world. Bardock and Gine see their son for the last time before he is shot into the sky and off towards Earth. The planet of Vegeta is then destroyed by Frieza soon after. Goku arrives on Earth, and instead of being the usual Saiyan child, he is much calmer and more polite. Not only has Goku gained the physical abilities of Hanuman, but his pure-heartedness. However, he doesn't know his own strength. He ends up kicking open the walls to Grandpa Gohan's home and destroying things with his near uncontrollable power. Grandpa Gohan can't spar him because this alien boy is just way too powerful. All he can do is give him techniques that he can learn in his own time and on his own. When Goku is a young boy, he falls into the crevice that he did in canon and hits his head. However, it does nothing. Using his monstrous power, he jumps right out the hole with ease and looks totally fine. More time passes and Goku eventually looks at the full moon. This is going to mean very bad things for the likes of Grandpa Gohan. This time he is killed in a bloodier fashion and Goku almost wipes the surrounding area clean. Upon seeing this mayhem, Kami watches intently as he can see the entire planet from his lookout. He can tell that this Goku boy is just way too strong and his lack of control over his own power might mean terrible things could happen in the future. Hanuman isn't omnipotent but is extremely powerful. In this case, I think I should give Goku a nice round power level of 1 million at this point. He has received some light training based mainly on learning techniques and martial arts, but he hasn't trained his power really. This is then when Bulma arrives. Upon her arrival, Goku still agrees to go on the quest with her to locate the Dragon Balls. Along with this, he meets the Turtle Hermit Roshi in the process. Goku meets Yamcha and their light spot ends up nearly killing him when only using a fraction of the same boy's power. He knows how strong he is and hasn't had to struggle against any foe. He hasn't even felt pain in his entire life. He nearly killed Grandpa Gohan on numerous occasions from his power and did in the end, but he doesn't know that. Also, no matter his strength, Goku is totally and completely impervious to physical damage. Punches from mortals like Yamcha won't do anything to him. This means that Pilaf can't even manage to subdue the Saiyan either. Goku dismantles him before he has the chance to resort to his sleeping gas and Bulma gets the Dragon Balls that she wanted. After all this hard work, she believes that Goku is the main reason that she even has the Dragon Balls right now. She almost believes unworthy of getting the wish and lets Goku have a shot at it, however he doesn't take her up on the offer. He is grateful for the life that he has now and states that he merely accompanied Bulma on this journey. He wasn't looking to get the wish for himself. Therefore, she wishes for the vain things that she wanted all this time and Goku begins training under Master Roshi. On their first day, he tries to time their 100-meter sprints. Krillin's clocks in at the usual 10.4 seconds. Goku gets ready to go with his broken souls and then shoots himself forward. As he stops himself before flying off the island, Roshi and Krillin are launched away. He then releases waves in the water ahead from his insane speed. Roshi wasn't even quick enough to clock his speed, but he looks down and sees 0.1 seconds on the stopwatch of his. Wow, he whispers under his breath upon seeing how fast this warrior is. The two fighters begin their training, but Roshi soon sees that his training won't really work with Goku. He can handle practically any load placed on his body and continue on easily. The only way Roshi can help him is through the teachings of sharpening his mind. Goku's ki control improves and his Kamehameha increases in strength as well. This means that his power level remains at 1 million for now, then he enters the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Since Roshi is very confident that Goku will win, he doesn't enter the tournament to try and beat his students to make sure that they keep training. He wants to do that still of course, but he can never beat Goku. He's never even made the Saiyan move from any of his attacks, even a straight Kamehameha to the body. Goku sweeps through the entire tournament and ends up winning with complete ease. Now what is to come next is the Red Ribbon Army saga. He totally wipes out the Red Ribbon Army and the event looks a lot more vicious than it was in canon. His punches are impactful enough to send buildings that he is within crumbling down. However, Goku is not meticulously looking to get rid of absolutely everyone. When he sees nobody continuing to face him, he thinks it's pretty much over. This means that Dr. Gero just about manages to survive. With his organization gone, he possesses the same resolution as in canon and wants to find a way to get rid of Goku. However, the scientist has very little to work with now since he hasn't seen him get hurt before. It's like the boy's a god. Nothing can hurt him and anything he wants to get rid of gets destroyed. Following this, Goku meets Tien of the Crane School, but he easily defeats him in a single strike. His power is just too much and Goku has never actually felt pain in his life. He doesn't really understand when people talk about it and assumes that it won't be that bad of an experience. Blades aimed at his body just don't pierce it and his body doesn't even receive the smallest graze or injury, it's like it wasn't even touched at all. What follows now is King Piccolo returning and his motive is still to get the Dragon Balls to achieve his youth once again. However, Kami isn't as concerned as he was in the main timeline. He believes that Goku is all that the planet needs. Kami is supposed to be stronger than Goku by this point, but this obviously isn't the case right now. He won't be doing as good of a job as Goku, so stays put and just watches on like he did in canon. After the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, Goku leaves his things at the tournament and Krillin offers to go and get his things for him. Now Goku decides that he'll go himself, just because he is so much faster. I think Goku will just want to get his items as quickly as possible and for him to do so he should go himself. He arrives at the tournament after leaping across the waters toward the arena and cracks the arena ground upon arriving again. He then has to pull out his legs from the dents they've made in the ground and then push off the rocky debris across his trousers. That's when he hears somebody where his items were. He investigates the area with concern because he doesn't really know who could still be at the tournament at this time. Seconds later he meets eyes with Tambourine, who takes the faces of the several fighters that were at the tournament. "Oh, the tournament winner. Would you look at that?" Tambourine says with surprise before pocketing the papers. He reveals his demonic wings and flies straight toward Goku. He still looks as calm as ever and can see that the Namekian demon almost moves like a slug to him. All he has to do is slide under his legs to evade his incoming slash. The aggressor becomes still for a time because he is taken aback by Goku's impressive speed. He managed to completely evade his incoming attack in a flash and moves so fast that he could barely track him. However, he abruptly turns and shoots a one-hand energy wave from his extended right arm. He attempts to take the young boy by surprise, but he doesn't even move. The energy wave hits him head on and lights up the surrounding area in the process. Parts of the building crumble and Tambourine makes sure to take flight before the debris falls on him. Now flapping his wings in the sky, he doesn't notice any movement in the fallen building and assumes that the job is done. Before he can leave though, Goku reveals himself from the debris and looks unharmed. The only affected part of his body is his gi. "Who are you? Why are you trying to kill everybody that participated in the tournament?" he asks. Tambourine just remains hovering there, dumbfounded. It's hard for him to grasp how Goku just survived one of his strongest attacks without sustaining a single injury. He looks just as healthy as he was before taking that attack, and then Goku takes the initiative to act. He jumps up to Tambourine and then launches a blast of ki right in his face. It explodes upon impact and causes his body to basically vaporize. It can't take that much power head on, and with a power level below even 180, nothing is visibly left of him. Following this, King Piccolo makes Symbol and Goku ends up meeting Yajirobe. The swordsman keeps insisting on sparring the Saiyan, but Goku is reluctant. He can see he is of good character and just doesn't believe that he could hurt him. I mean, nobody has in his entire life. The rotund warrior remains resilient though and tries to fight. In the end, he can't even leave a graze on Goku and is humiliatingly defeated with a light tap to his belly that launches him through several trees. This is where the two meet Symbol and Yajirobe takes the liberty to savagely fell the demonic warrior. Following this event though, Goku meets King Piccolo himself. The old warrior is furious that this mere child managed to defeat Tambourine. Therefore, he wants to make sure that he wipes him from the face of the earth. King Piccolo shouts and hits Goku right on, but nothing happens. Goku can feel the hit, but there is no pain, it's just a feeling of touch. He grabs King Piccolo's leg and just with a light grab fractures the bone in his leg. The old warrior is dropped to his knees and he holds his leg in agony. The Namekian can't even get back up to his feet and stand properly. He doesn't possess any form of healing abilities, but just shoots his special demon wave while lying on his back. As he is shooting the energy wave though, Goku continues walking forward like there is no resistance whatsoever. It just feels slightly warmer than usual and Goku quite lacks the cozy warm feeling around his body. The only thing is he looks down to his clothes and he can tell that they don't exactly share the same sentiment. They look charred and burned from the heat, so he steps out the way of the beam to stop his clothes from totally burning off. Goku lifts his hand to kill King Piccolo, but then he sees him almost choking on something. That is when he shoots the young Piccolo Jr. as far as he can before clenching one fist. He lifts two fingers and then shouts using the exploding wave. The technique was actually used by Nappa in the upcoming Saiyan saga, and the area he wants to explode is around where Goku is, then it lights up completely. The blast is so powerful that even King Piccolo is sent sliding back himself. As the light dies down though, nothing has happened. Goku looks as quality as ever, just with a burned gi. Just as he received the attack, Goku goes on to shoot a ki blast at the old frail demon. He is killed with that blast and dies, leaving his mission to his reincarnated offspring, Piccolo Jr. Another short end to the arc is found and the Dragon Balls are no longer being sought out. Peace returns to Earth and Kami lets out a sigh of relief after first seeing that the planet is safe but also seeing that he has survived. He remains of pure heart and knows what is better for the world, but he still possesses the will to carry on living. However, he decides that he wants to let Goku transform himself further. Even if he isn't strong himself, he believes that he will be a great asset for Goku in the future. He might be weaker, but he knows certain things that the young boy doesn't. This means that Goku goes under his wing just like in canon. The young boy grows up on the lookout with Kami and is strong enough to spend a full year in the hyperbolic time chamber. He decides to go through some strenuous solitary training in the chamber after Kami tries to convince the confident Saiyan that he may not be stronger than everyone. Just because he hasn't met somebody with the power to hurt him doesn't mean that such person doesn't exist. This brings Goku's power level up to 2 million after this training session and the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai begins. He meets Chi-Chi and still agrees to marry her, then ends up winning the tournament once again. What comes now is the 5-year time skip between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Goku takes training very lightly during this time and has Gohan just like usual. Gohan doesn't possess all of Goku's powerful Hanuman abilities. The only ones he inherits are the toned down version of Goku's power and immortality. That means he's still vulnerable to attacks and doesn't possess the special ability to wield celestial weapons. As you've most likely observed, Goku doesn't even know that he has the ability to wield celestial weapons. Gohan is born with the DBZ Broly power level of 10,000. Now this isn't totally insane, but it's still something for sure. Better than literally every other Saiyan in history besides Goku. He ends up destroying things in Chi-Chi's home and reminds Goku of himself when he was younger and couldn't control his own powers. At this point in time, Raditz arrives on Earth. He opens his ship in the massive hole in the ground to see a power signature of 10,000 on his scouter. Goku has kept his own suppressed and he is very happy to have this ability now. It stops him just destroying things by accident since he basically got the power before he had the skill to properly contain and control it. He was born with the power and of course didn't have fighting experience coming out the womb. Raditz is frozen in place upon seeing this. He glances right over the farmer and flies right past Piccolo too. This leaves Piccolo frozen just like he was before because his power level is massive. He has already gotten used to Gohan and Goku's, but he just can't understand who this other powerful warrior is. Raditz assumes there is just something wrong with his scouter, but as he gets closer he can see that his scouter does not deceive him. Goku leaves from the Kame house, but he is surprised to see that the power level reading is not coming from Goku. Instead it's coming from the small child behind him, who he assumes to be his son. Judging from the fright and timidity of the young boy, Raditz takes this chance to be a little more aggressive with his introduction. He can see that Goku has very little power himself and believes some weird genetic mutation might have resulted in his son becoming so strong. He still feels like he's treading on thin ice here. If that kid there gets mad and tries to attack him, it's pretty much toast for him. Goku is interrogated by the man and it makes a lot of sense to them why Goku is an alien. However, his power doesn't totally hail from the fact that he's a Saiyan. Of course, he has the abilities of Hanuman on top of that. You're starting to annoy me, Kakarot. If you don't comply with my request, I'll kill every single person that stands behind you. Raditz then aims both arms out to the sides of Goku. This makes the Saiyan furious and he steps forward boldly. In this step, he loosens the restrictions that he sets on his power and feels it steadily grow. Raditz's scouter breaks upon seeing his brother power up. The readings were increasing so fast that he didn't even get to read them, but he saw 7 digits beside each other rising. He stumbles away like a coward and can't even believe what's happening. How could his brother be so powerful? I don't want to have to kill you. Leave the planet and never come back, Goku shouts. Raditz nods fearfully before flying away as fast as he can. He zooms across the mountains with all his pace and in mere minutes Raditz is off-world. With this, the Raditz arc is drawn to an abrupt close and we have the following Saiyans left. Raditz returns to his comrades on a random planet in Frieza's empire. Nappa and Vegeta are around a campfire as they chow down on alien meat from the victims of their assault. What is it, Raditz? Did he complete his job and where is Kakarot? Vegeta asks, not even raising his eyes to meet Raditz's own. I am sorry, but he was too strong for me. He's far too powerful for even any of us to get him to comply. The reading I got on my scouter was above 1 million. From this statement, Vegeta immediately stands. Don't ever make such a baseless claim. A power level of 1 million is impossible for a Saiyan of your status, Vegeta claims. Vegeta believes himself to be the strongest Saiyan ever and believes himself to be the legendary Super Saiyan. There is no way a Saiyan could be that much stronger than pretty much every single person that he has seen in his life, including Frieza. Such a power would easily eclipse Frieza's and that gives him a sliver of hope. However, he can't stand to even think that a low-class warrior is above him and so he lets the matter rest. He's going to see how strong this warrior is for himself. Alright then, let's see what you're talking about, Vegeta claims. In around the same time as before, Nappa, Vegeta and Raditz arrive on the planet in a group. Goku did say that Raditz should never return to Earth, but with these two Saiyans to act as protection, he does feel a little safer. They arrive in East City and Nappa destroys the entire area, which alerts the surrounding warriors. Before they can leave though, they see a special person arrive in the wasteland, Piccolo. Who are you three? He asks, annoyed by their presence. He fears what he senses, but doesn't like his idea of accepting inferiority. Even if his sensing capabilities say otherwise, he affirms that he is superior to these warriors that stand in front of him. A Namekian, what a surprise to see you here, Nappa states. Piccolo's power level is now 4,000, slightly stronger than his canon counterpart's power level. This is because he was totally humiliated at the 2013 Tenkaichi Budokai. He felt more motivated to train his power to make himself stronger. Piccolo just shouts and launches a ki blast right at Nappa. Raditz is forced to back away due to the power level that he reads. He is far below the level of Piccolo and Nappa is forced to lift his arms to block. Vegeta, however, just lets the ki blast hit him. Once the light dies down, he shoots a ki blast back at Piccolo in reaction. The Namekian is hit by the powerful blast and viciously killed in it as a result. Nappa looks a little embarrassed from the bruises he receives on his forearms from a Namekian's attack, but looks back to Raditz, who is cowered behind them to try and remend his fragile ego. These Z fighters haven't been training, so they aren't anywhere near as strong as they were in canon. Krillin's power level is 1000, Tien's is 1200, while Yamcha's is 800. Chaozu's lags behind quite significantly with a power level of 500. Gohan's, after simply growing and going through some light training with his father, has a power level of 18,000. This already places him at a great level, and his father can see that he has great potential for further growth and development. The crew notice this event that has taken place and head right there to see what has happened. Upon arriving, the humans are frozen upon feeling the signatures of the three Saiyans. How are they so strong? It makes no sense, Krillin whispers to Goku upon seeing this. Even the weakest fighter possesses monstrous power. Who are these people? Tien wonders. They all realise that the warriors have tails just like Goku. The news of him being an alien has spread between the Z fighters, and so they can tell that these fighters are of the same species as Goku. However, they know just how strong Goku is, and he's never even felt pain before. They feel secure behind him, but even collateral damage could end their lives with such strong individuals battling. Goku has his power suppressed, and Vegeta laughs upon checking his power. This time Gohan's is lower and settled at around 10. The humans keep their power levels to 5 and Goku does the same. Gohan's ki control is a bit worse, so even though he is much weaker than Goku, he can't suppress himself anywhere near as much. You said that these warriors would be a threat. They have similar power levels to the others on this planet. These fighters couldn't even handle a single Cyberman, Vegeta claims. Nappa, grow them and waste this group. I'm very annoyed that you have taken us all the way here after nearly a year of space travel just to see this. Your scouter was clearly bugged, Vegeta says, as Cyberman seeds are placed in the ground by Nappa. I promise his power was higher. These fighters have the ability of keeping their power levels low then rising them in battle. Vegeta laughs once he hears this claim. After growing up around fighters, not even the most skilled of them had this skill. He believes this to be a fluke and just watches on to see the Cybermen pummel them. They soon sprout out like plants, revealing the devilish warriors. Their demeanours exude evil and bloodlust, then the crew of 5 Cybermen jump at the group. Goku is stood at the front and so he can take on the fight himself. His power rises and reaches above 10,000, making Nappa frozen in place. With a single swipe of his palm, he bisects a Cyberman then gets rid of the rest. He does all this in a flash, and the mangled bodies of these Cybermen are left strewn around his body. His gi is now covered in the streaks of blood from these fighters, and he looks on to the Saiyan still heavily suppressed. Raditz is frozen upon seeing this power. He can see it stabilizing and he knows his comrades can too. Vegeta steps forward because he can see that Nappa won't be able to do much against Kakarot, only he can end him with his power. He should be a good match for you, Gohan, try and face him, Goku says back to his son, stepping back. He thinks it will be good for Gohan to face somebody his own level, and this could help him grow as a fighter. When Gohan observes that everybody around him is much weaker than himself, it motivates him to fight. He wants to be strong and face formidable warriors like a Saiyan would, but his human purity makes him want to be a protector also. Gohan powers up and begins shaking the ground upon raising his power level. The other Saiyans are in shock at his power and Vegeta feels the same. However, the villainous Saiyans all stop moving upon seeing their battle power readings soar past 10,000, settling at a whopping 18,000. Gohan shoots himself toward Vegeta, and with such speed, the fighter is forced to enter proper battle mode. If he tries to hold back, he will be hit. The collision makes the surrounding area tremble, and the strike also launches Vegeta across the wasteland that they're stood in. A cloud of dust and rubble raises as his soul slides back, but he comes to a stop shortly after. Gohan throws another punch after leaping forward, then steps to the side rather swiftly to land a kick to Vegeta's side. The attack puts heavy strain on his armor and cracks it. The humans are awestruck at this young boy's performance. He should be 5 years old, but is fighting like he's been doing this for much longer than even that. Vegeta does manage to elbow Gohan in the nose before he can move, and the two warriors continue their bout. As seen from their power levels, they fight like true equals. They can both land around the same number of attacks on each other and start dwindling their energy. However, Vegeta has trained more than Gohan. He remains fighting for longer and doesn't wear down as easily. Raditz and Nappa cannot believe what they're seeing. Vegeta was lauded as a prodigy, as one of the strongest Saiyans, even for one of elite status. How could this low-class boy manage to match his strength? Gohan blocks a punch from Vegeta, but a second comes firing toward him soon after. This one he cannot properly block and it forces his vision off target. Vegeta drives his knee into his stomach, lifting Gohan off his feet completely. As he settles while mid-air, he grabs him by the neck to slam him into the ground. The humans look startled from this event, but Goku remains surprisingly solemn. He knows these are how fights end up, but he also believes in his son. After all that training, he believes that he can make it through. Gohan grabs his muscular arm and uses all the power that he can summon to try and push it away. He can feel his arm giving in since it's 2 arms against 1. He's given a small time window to get in as much breath as he can, but Vegeta swiftly begins using both arms to keep Gohan pinned to the ground. The struggle continues, but soon Gohan struggles to provide resistance. With little air coming in, he grows tired even more quickly and can't provide energy to his muscles. His vision starts to fade and he can see a looming darkness creeping into the center of his vision from all sides. The light of Vegeta's face and the surrounding objects begin to fade in together, but Goku comes rushing in and kicks Vegeta across the face. Goku's kick is so powerful that he sends his head flying right down to the floor. The humans rush to Gohan's aid and Tien swiftly pulls him back from the battle. Vegeta is lost for words once he really realizes what has happened. He was fighting toe-to-toe with a chubby low-class Saiyan boy and now has blood rushing down the side of his face from an attack from his low-class father. His eyes are widened with shock and his brain is struggling to really process what's going on. It simply goes against basic logic. I told you not to come back, but you came with all these people. Why would you? Goku asks, shouting back to Raditz. Vegeta, wiping the blood from his face, is tired of what's happened, then grows a white energy blast. Hurling it right into the sky, it grows once he clenches his hand into a fist while he cackles. The Saiyans suddenly look far more confident and their shoulders fall to an ordinary position. Their bodies look relaxed, then the Saiyans all simultaneously stare at this blast. Gohan does the same and all their transformations begin. The humans fall back in terror as these Saiyans grow into massive towering apes, Uzaru. Goku just looks around watching this all happen and is astonished. There isn't any time to waste though, as these fighters start raining ultra powerful ki blasts down on the group. Goku uses his body to take the impact of the blasts and simply doesn't get hurt at all. His abilities from Hanuman means that his body remains durable and able to withstand these attacks without incurring any form of damage. However, stray blasts fire across the arena mainly from the brazen Gohan. He just shoots at any life form that he can see, not just the enemies. This includes the humans. Suddenly, Goku can see multiple ki blasts heading to the 4 human fighters. He tries his best to run toward them and lets one slam into his body and explode. As for the others, they crash into Yamcha, Krillin and Chaozu, viciously killing them. Their bodies are left a total mess after these violent detonations and Goku must find a way to stop this madness. Tien is the only one that remains, but is far too weak to even think of protecting himself. It all falls right into Goku's hands now. He lifts all his suppressions, then flies right toward Nappa. He punches him once, shattering his armor while also launching him away. As for Raditz, he lands a double fly kick to his body which leaves him in a similar crippled state. With 2 Uzaru taken out in a flash, all he has left is Vegeta. The Uzaru looks far more confident, now 10 times stronger than he once was, and he aims right for Goku. He shoots a mouth blast, but Goku lets it hit his body. It does nothing to him and he just lands a straight punch onto his face. The force behind the strike hurls Vegeta off his feet while leaving a fracture in his skull as he is knocked out. The final person to worry about is Gohan. He thinks of ways to take down his son without making him too hurt and he struggles to think of options. Goku didn't think much about pulling his punches with the other warriors, but he just isn't sure that he can be certain that Gohan will live after his attacks. Looking up to the fake moon in the sky, Goku decides to aim for that instead. Driving up in flight as fast as he can, his body crashes through the white ball of ki and the fake moon is shattered. Goku is surrounded by a spectacle of glowing white light particles that soon disperse to leave nothing behind. The Saiyans begin returning to their ordinary human forms and Goku retrieves Gohan. Goku sees his best friend Krillin dead on the ground. This event makes Goku furious and he has to drop Gohan when he feels anger bubbling up in his head. He thinks back to the event and how he tried his very hardest to reach him. He was an arm's length away, half a step, but he just couldn't make it in time. Why did these Saiyans have to be so cruel? Why did they have to mercilessly murder? The ground quakes as Goku slams his arms into the ground with a shout. His roar is one of pure hysteria and grief. His hair raises and his aura switches from silver to gold, his eyes become blue and his hair becomes a blonde colour. The transformation is powerful and Vegeta is the only one that's barely conscious to witness this. He only has mere seconds before he loses it and he mutters one phrase before passing out. The Saiyan of Legend. Goku's power increases 54 and reaches 100 million. His power is extremely high now and he stands powerfully upon feeling this power. He looks down to his body as well and is surprised. He walks over to Vegeta and the Saiyan slowly wakes back up upon feeling his intense presence. You are to take your friends, whether they're alive or dead, and leave this planet. If you cannot do so, I will slaughter you right here and right now, Goku orders. His ultimatum is harsh and this is due to his greater anger in the form of Super Saiyan. Just like it was in the canon where he unlocked the form for the first time, it makes him angrier and more brutal. Vegeta doesn't nod or reply to state that he agrees to his terms, however he slowly returns to his feet and jogs toward his friends with his injured body. Instead of lifting their bodies and escaping, he lifts both arms and kills both warriors on the spot while they're still unconscious. Goku's eyes are widened with total shock and Tien looks a similar way. The Saiyan has just murdered his own comrades without a second thought, then he flies off. His hair falls and he then returns to his base form. He shakes his head upon feeling this power fade, and then they have to calculate their next steps. With Krillin and Yamcha dead, they must summon the Dragon Balls to revive them. They manage to acquire a Dragon Radar from Bulma, but it reads no Dragon Ball whatsoever. They're confused and then they get scared. Heading over to the lookout, they see Mr. Popo in tears over Kami's dead body. The Dragon Balls are no more. Here they need to find a way to bring back Piccolo so that they can bring back their friends. The situation isn't the best, but Goku and Tien try their best to work their way around this situation. Gohan is a strong asset that they could have on Namek, but Chi-Chi is reluctant to let him go off-world. Of course, Gohan could be very helpful in finding the Dragon Balls, but Goku is already extremely powerful. They don't think they'll need him. Of course, Tien won't be providing much to the team since he's way weaker than even Gohan, but since his friend Chaozu died, he wants to be directly involved in reviving him. Mr. Popo eventually informs them of the ship that Kami arrived on Earth in. Once they find that ship, all it needs is a few tweaks and augmentations from Bulma and they're ready to go. The faces of the malevolent Saiyans that they met before haunt Tien's mind, along with the dead body of Chaozu. Goku was also haunted by the death of his best friend, Krillin. He was pretty much his first companion when looking past parental figures like Grandpa Gohan and things. The two fighters with Bulma navigating are well on their way towards Namek. The thing is, Hanuman was able to travel to the sun and almost eat it like it was food, therefore I'm sure that Goku won't be affected by a lack of air. He isn't actually able to test this out, but there isn't really a need to anyway. One sign he is given though is that there is a thinning of the air in the ship as they ascend into space for a brief period. Bulma complains about it and Tien can feel it, but his body is fortified and isn't as affected by this. Goku feels nothing at all and has kind of gotten used to just not feeling the same sensations that others describe. It isn't really something that he is bothered by, but it's certainly confusing. The two Earthlings and Goku arrive on the lush blue grass of Namek opening to its air. They are then found by some soldiers of Frieza, but none of them are bothered by these people in the slightest. They mainly go for Goku and try to attack him since he suppresses his battle power to about 5, but this is useless. Tien manages to shout and launch a ki blast at one of the soldiers, killing them right away. As for the others, they are swiftly dismantled by Goku. Even increasing his power level slightly is all he needs to contend with these warriors. Their ship is destroyed in the process though, which kind of means that they're stranded here. They aren't very happy about that, but that's a situation that they must worry about in the future. For now, they have to try and find the Dragon Ball so that they can complete their mission. Eventually, Tien and Goku watch over the Frieza army in operation for pretty much the first time. Of course, this is excluding the Saiyans that work under the Tyrant, Raditz, Nappa and Vegeta. Zarbon and Dodoria mercilessly and easily slaughter the strongest Namekian fighters that have banded together to face them. Their attacks are powerful and brutal, and they are met with very little, practically negligible resistance. This time, Goku cannot stand to watch this and stay put. He's quite frankly stronger now, with a power level of 1 million. He has never been hurt in his life and as a result fears nobody. Even the power of Frieza that he can feel, which is large, doesn't frighten him. Tien urges for him to stay back, but then again he feels like Goku might even be stronger than that Emperor there. He's never even seen Goku's armor-like skin grazed before. The strongest foes like Vegeta, even in his Goliath Uzaru form, could do nothing to hurt him. The Saiyan charges down there and Tien just stays back in fear. He tries his best to keep his power level hidden for now and only wants to step in if he's absolutely needed. Goku, before Dodoria can kill Dende, lands a single punch onto his person and kills him right away. With his growing anger at the innocent deaths of these Namekians, he won't be doing any sort of suppressing of his power. With a straight shot from a man of a 2 million power level, Dodoria is totally gone. Goku turns to Zarbon and Frieza with glares of fury but also valiance. Zarbon looks slightly startled upon seeing his piercing focus glare because he managed to dismantle Dodoria so easily. He knows that in this state of his he cannot do the same thing, so basic logic tells him that he is in big trouble here. As a result, he tries to transform to prove to be a challenge to Goku in his eyes, but the Saiyan doesn't give him such a liberty. With a strike straight to the stomach, it's over for Zarbon. Before he can even complete his transformation, Goku's fist rams through his body and the fighter is no more. As the scouters of the soldiers in the area were previously destroyed by the Namekians, Frieza does not know how strong Goku is. Of course, for a Saiyan to surpass his power seems impossible without the use of Uzaru, and so he still thinks that he would have the edge. Frieza stares down the Emperor angrily and can feel his evil nature from the pressure that he exudes. However, he deems himself stronger and doesn't back down in fear in his presence. This annoys Frieza, however. Nobody has had the power to stand before him instead of resorting to bowing. Of course, this is excluding his father, King Cold. It's clear that this Saiyan wants a fight and Frieza is going to give him what he wants to make him submit to his position as Emperor. Zooming out his party strikes Goku, but he blocks and feels no pain from his strike. A few more attacks come his way, but yet again they prove to be relatively futile. As Frieza comes charging in, angered by his lack of success against this warrior, Goku picks his shot and lands a powerful punch to his face, followed up by a ki blast. Being 4 times stronger than him by this point, these attacks leave Frieza in a bad state. He ends up coughing from the attacks, then sees droplets of blood in his palm. His eyes widen from this event and his brain almost struggles to comprehend it. He shouts at the top of his lungs, powering up and transforming into his next form, his second form. During this time, the Namekians like Guru and Nail are in distress. They are already restless due to the merciless killing of their own people, but now Frieza seems to be growing even stronger than he was before. Their only hope is the other person in the same location that they can assume is fighting Frieza. From the nature of this individual signature, they can tell that he is not Namekian or of Frieza's empire, but somebody else entirely. Back to the fight, Frieza sprints toward Goku now with heavy thud-like strides. Swinging his large arm, Goku swerves out the way of the attack relatively easily. Following this attempt at hitting him, he kicks the side of Frieza's knee and drops him onto such knee. Now with his head lower, he can land a sequence of punches onto his face more easily. Frieza is sent sliding on his back with a bruised up body and face. Blood is now dripping from his nose and mouth and he struggles to return to his feet. Frieza struggles to wrap his head around what is happening right now. Even the Ginyu Force are nowhere near the level to even make him think of transforming, so how could this Saiyan be overpowering him in his second form? Nevertheless, he knows how much power he still has left stored up. He could easily defeat this fighter if he wants to, and he has now made that choice. He powers up and quite frankly reaches new heights. His dark menacing aura crackles around him wildly as his power signature seems to inexorably grow. With Goku's power level of 2 million, he soon feels the signature growing dangerously large. Frieza's third form is revealed and he looks a lot more confident than he once was. His smile is menacing and exudes pure confidence. The dynamics of the battle soon change as Frieza shoots forward with much greater speed. Landing 2 punches onto Goku's face, he then drives his fist into his gut. His punches hold much more force and move Goku around, but they're still just a feeling to him. None of the attacks are actually painful. Then he tries to attack Frieza again. He manages to punch his face, but Frieza takes the attack and smirks and dishes an identical punch back at Goku. He smiles wildly once he thinks that he has the advantage, only to see Goku not concerned by his attack in the slightest. The fight continues and Frieza receives at most minor injury from Goku's assault, but Goku seems better off than him somehow. He can feel that he is stronger, that he is almost certain of, but Goku doesn't seem to be bothered by this phenomenon at all. Even with his greater power to amplify himself, he is achieving nothing. Goku desires to take Frieza down right here and right now and charges forward with as much power as he can possibly muster. Even without his Super Saiyan form, he wants to use every ounce of power that he has to put a stop to this immoral being. In his advance, a weird weapon flashes into his right hand, a mace, specifically the Garda of Hanumanji. The head of this mace smashes into Frieza's face, then there is an absolutely massive outburst of power. The swing with his mace levels thousands of meters squared of the area to Frieza's side, and his head is crushed by the strike. With this swing, Goku continues to grasp onto the golden mace in his hand, and Frieza is sent flying away. Tien is forced to leap to the side to not get hit by Frieza's flying body that continues to fly into the sky before it finally dips near the clouds. He even has to remain in flight because the area that he was lying on crumbles in a landslide from the damage nearby. Goku is surprised by what's just happened, then looks down to see a metal mace-like weapon in his hand. The Garda has intricate engravings made of gold across its exterior and still feels rather light for Goku. He swings it around and likes the way that the weapon moves and flips the handle around in his palm to get a better feel for it. The threat of Frieza is now basically gone before he even had the chance to begin using his final form. This means that Tien and Goku can simply get the Dragon Balls in a much more relaxed manner. They bring Dende along with them, and once they arrive at Guru's place, he provides them with a potential unlocking in the last few hours of his life. This brings Tien's power level up to 15,000 while Goku shoots up further to a much higher 20 million. As this is happening, Vegeta has healed himself from his injuries but had never heard of such Dragon Balls before. He left the planet before the Earthlings were even beginning to talk about Dragon Balls. On planet Frieza 79 there is chaos and simultaneous rejoice upon the news of Frieza's death. Many of the natives of this planet try to rebel against the soldiers still on the planet, and many soldiers choose not to fight in the first place. They were directed by Frieza, and with no Emperor as a figurehead and central power of the Empire, there is no need for them to continue following the orders of a dead man. Vegeta doesn't know what has happened immediately, but is swiftly told by some soldiers that end up reporting to him. This makes him free from his tyranny, and with no other Saiyans to act as his comrades, he's almost become alone in this world. That isn't a matter that concerns him, however. What he must do now is grow much stronger so that next time he can obliterate the Saiyan that is called Kakarot. Forcing him to flee has shattered his ego, and now he must take him down in revenge. Goku and Tien retrieve all of the Dragon Balls and wish for Kami to be revived. They don't actually have much association with him, so he's not on King Kai's planet training with him or anything. The other humans are though, and he's decided to hand off his abilities to them because he deems them capable. These are the likes of Krillin and Yamcha. They're both dead and gain access to Kaioken from his teachings. They don't grow much stronger though, because they aren't there for that long at all. Tien still far outclasses their power with his potential unlocking from Guru. Now that the humans have been revived, Goku, Tien and Bulma need to find a way back to Earth. Luckily for them, there is Frieza's ship, and it doesn't take long for Bulma to figure her way around the navigating system. The group are gone shortly after and return to Earth in about a month. Goku returns much stronger than he was before, and peace has been returned for real. He is bummed out that Gohan didn't get to come along with them due to Chi-Chi being heavily reluctant to let him go. Peace is returned though, and the humans start training together upon receiving Kaioken. With the ability to multiply their power in short bursts, they could actually prove to be helpful and fight better against the villains and threats of Earth. In a flash, after about 1 year of time has passed, Tien is at a power level of 25,000 and can use Kaioken times 8. Krillin is at 24,000 and can use Kaioken times 7, while Yamcha can use Kaioken times 7 as well, but with a power level of 22,000. This gives Tien a top power level of 200,000, which is quite decent. It's nowhere near Frieza's level, but being above the Ginyu Force as a human at this point is a great achievement. During this year nothing much happens except for the arrival of King Cold on planet Earth. He is here to avenge his fallen son and has attempted to rebuild what remained of his empire. With King Cold's power, it's not long before several planets and civilizations belong to him. Goku is training with Gohan, who now has a power level all the way up at 1 million. Training with a much stronger fighter in the form of his father, he can get God Zenkais whenever they spar hard. King Cold makes his arrival and the humans and Saiyans all head to the site to see him standing there. The humans are very intimidated, but Goku with his divine mace in hand is fearless. He slowly flies down there and lands in front of the fighter while the others remain behind him. From his resemblance to Frieza, he can tell that he means trouble. "Who are you?" he asks, tightening the grip on his Garda. "I am the father of Frieza, the person that was murdered by one of you. Guessing from his autopsy, I believe that it was you that caused his death." Upon hearing this, Goku is a little scared. He left Frieza's corpse to rot on Namek, so what did King Cold do on the planet to retrieve him? "Don't worry, I didn't do much while I was on Namek. I just made sure to reinstill control and bring it under my expanding empire," King Cold shouts powerfully. Goku hears this and just shoots himself right at him. With a power level of 20 million, he doesn't seem to be an immediate problem to King Cold. In the anime, he was even stated to surpass his son, and so he should be relative to him at the weakest. He smirks with arrogance upon seeing how slow Goku is in his vision, but then a massive shockwave is released from the mace. Making Goku's attack several times more powerful, King Cold's armor breaks upon taking the impact, leaving a nasty wound on his chest in the process. He falls back coughing blood and stumbles to a knee. His drop makes the ground rumble from his sides, but Goku just swings his mace down on him. He manages to lift his hands in time, but the round head of the Garda breaks both of his arms in the created shockwave. The ground cracks under the immense downward force and his arms dangle by his side. The Z fighters look grossed out by the state of his arms, but are happy to see that Goku has done a brilliant job in protecting the planet once again. "Leave here and never return. If you don't comply, I'll have to take you down," Goku shouts with fury. King Cold runs off with his tail between his legs and he heads for his ship. In the process though, he receives a slash from an unknown direction that bisects him. He is killed just like that, and the fighters then feel a massive key signature near his body. There in the air is a Super Saiyan that resembles Goku. He sheathes his sword then descends to stand beside Goku. In reaction, he enters his own Super Saiyan form and his aura even pushes future Trunks back. "Who are you?" Goku asks, tightly holding his mace with both hands. He believes the only alive Saiyan left besides himself and his son is Vegeta. He is nowhere to be found, so who could this Super Saiyan be? His gut just tells him that he means trouble and he stays on guard. The other Z fighters can sense his ki and know they could do nothing to defeat him, therefore they are also quite skeptical of him. "Don't worry, I mean no harm to any of you. Not killing him just spells trouble in the future," Future Trunks states before returning to his base form. "What does that mean?" he asks. "Well, actually, I think it's better we continue things off later. He should be coming soon," Future Trunks says. Before Goku can reply in confusion, he sees Vegeta flying down in the skies. He lands ahead of the fighters with ripped and tattered clothing. However, they can see that his physique is even more impressive than it once was, and he seems more resolute from his piercing gaze. "Vegeta, I thought I said for you never to return. What do you want here?" Goku asks, with hostility. "I think it's best if you address me with more respect, Kakarot," Vegeta barks back, stepping forward. Goku tightens his grip on his mace, then Vegeta wiggles his fingers before falling into a slight crouch. I came here to finally put an end to you. I have taken the claim of the legendary Super Saiyan away from you, Kakarot, Vegeta claims. From this claim, the others look incredulously at the prince. Soon after, his transformation begins and his pressure starts pushing out the surrounding rocks and air. Goku lifts one hand to place above his eyes, then he sees Vegeta in his new Super Saiyan state. He smiles proudly before flying right at Goku with a shout. Future Trunks just watches in awe as he sees his father for pretty much the first time ever. He doesn't have any recollection of him in his memorable life. Goku uses his mace to parry the first punch that comes his way. Vegeta remains persistent and throws another punch in quick succession. This punch whips over his dipped head, causing no damage whatsoever. For the next few attacks, Vegeta just continues throwing attack after attack. At first he blamed his misses on rustiness from fighting just out of nowhere, but after tens of punches he can't even say that anymore. Goku is just faster than him. Once he stretches out one of his arms, he receives a smashing strike from his mace that drops him to his knees. He coughs out blood and can feel the pain even in his spine on the other side of his torso. His entire lower torso just feels like it's on fire and he can't understand how that strike felt so painful. Goku made sure to throw it lightly, but his mace doesn't really work like that. It's divine and so is an extremely powerful weapon. Vegeta struggles to even get back up to his feet and Trunks looks kind of bad to see him in this state. It was clear that he's quite arrogant and doesn't take losses very often. As Saiyan royalty, as told to him by future Gohan, he expected him to act something like this. It just surprises him that his mentality managed to change so much in a few years that he ended up fighting against the androids for his family and Earth. Vegeta wants to try and attack Goku again, but to be honest, the attack he received is causing him too much agony. He struggles to summon the energy to fly away, defeated and humiliated once again. After this, Future Trunks reveals himself as the future warrior that he is. He explains that a special being is going to appear in 3 years' time that murders Goku and everyone else. Upon hearing this, Goku is very surprised. Since he has never felt pain and been defeated, he is taken off guard by the fact that he dies in the future. Who is this being? Goku asks further. Well, he's somebody you know already. Before he was turned into an android, he went by the name of Piccolo and we just call him that anyway. He's become super powerful, like extremely powerful, Future Trunks explains, haunted by the sight of him in his mind. It took us a while to figure it out and we still haven't really, but it boils down to Piccolo being able to physically damage you. No matter how strong anything else is, you won't be hurt. As for Piccolo though, that doesn't happen, Future Trunks reveals. This revelation astounds Goku as he never thought his body worked in that manner. Of course, upon deeper reflection it makes more sense. He assumed people like King Cold and Frieza to be similar in strength to himself, but they could do nothing to hurt him. With this, he gets slightly scared. He doesn't want to die or feel pain and so trains as hard as he can in preparation. The others do the same and the humans take advantage of the Kaioken powers that they have access to, making themselves even stronger. Gohan is at the forefront of this training as well, while Vegeta ends up meeting Bulma at this time and they have their son Trunks at a similar time to canon. 3 years pass and the time has come. During this time, Goku has gained access to the 2nd and 3rd grade forms of Super Saiyan along with Super Saiyan 2. Gohan has managed to access Super Saiyan in training but can't utilize it completely at will. It works most of the time though. As for the humans, they can all utilize great levels of Kaioken. Tien has learned to use Kaioken times 25 while Krillin can do the same. Yamcha can use Kaioken times 23, so is slightly behind but is still very powerful in his own right. The team arrive at the area of Sasebo where Goku stands over it with his divine mace. He swings it around in his hand and he has started training with it quite a bit. Actually, as a form of training, he went to human training areas to wield these maces so that he knows the proper techniques. He had to do this since the actual strong fighters in Dragon Ball don't usually wield weapons like maces. The fighters fly into the area and Yamcha ends up finding the androids first. This time Yamcha isn't a total weakling, he has the Kaioken on his side. Android 19 shoots at him and he is flustered to begin with. He begins using Kaioken but it's futile. He still receives a punch to his face and the basic 2x boost of Kaioken just isn't enough. Sliding back with a large bruise on his face, he can tell that his power just doesn't match this warrior's. In reaction, he powers up and begins using Kaioken times 10. Now 10 times stronger, he flies at the android and tries to punch it. Even with his much greater speed, it can still swerve out the way and land a body punch to stop him in his tracks. The punch is so powerful that Yamcha is dropped to a knee while holding his stomach. The pain he feels from that hit is quite intrusive in his mind, but he steals through it. This isn't anywhere near his full power anyway. Standing, he remains firm and begins using Kaioken times 23. His power climbs wildly and he zooms straight toward the android and throws the most powerful kick that he can. His kick lands square on its chest, but this does little. The following punch from the android nearly knocks him out, then a final knee to his stomach drops him to his knees. The android grabs him by the neck and slowly lifts him while suffocating him. Yamcha isn't willing to just die here and throws punch after punch at the android's face. All he is met by is its menacing smile as it slowly but steadily applies more force onto his neck. Still in Kaioken, he can only cause the android to twitch and jolt around from his punches. Even after all that training, he still isn't strong enough to protect himself, let alone others. Corpses are strewn around him and it's their fault for letting those people die when they should have stepped in time. His vision starts to fade and as what he deems to be one of his last moments, he spits a mixture of blood and spit at the android's face. He wipes the blood from his face and looks unbothered by his showing of disrespect. This is an android after all and has no true emotion. Yamcha's head slumps down, but a weird noise is heard from beside them. A destructo disc comes soaring in and slices the android in half, cutting through some of its vital components. The attack was so sudden that the android couldn't even properly prepare for it, and Krillin is flying in the sky in Kaioken times 25. Tien then comes flying down in Kaioken also and aims to hit Dr. Gero, but he swiftly evades before stepping back. Tien lands before him and the two humans charge at the android with everything they have. Using 25 times multipliers, they surprise the Saiyans that watch them as the battle ensues. As for Dr. Gero though, he is having the time of his life. These attacks of theirs do practically nothing and the humans run out of their Kaioken power. Now fatigued and weakened, the Saiyans descend to help them before any proper damage is caused. Dr. Gero sees them landing and smiles like a crazed maniac would. "Hello there Goku, it's been a while hasn't it? A good few years," Dr. Gero asks, revealing a weird button. "I don't know who you are, I know about the Red Ribbon Army though, and I destroyed that organization a very long time ago," Goku says, aiming his mace at him. "You speak so confidently because of your invincibility. How about we change the dynamics? Let's see how you react to feeling pain for the first time." Following this statement, he slams his massive button down. After this, it's very anticlimactic and nothing actually happens. The humans, tired, look around and see nothing. Gohan and Goku are more vigilant and look around them but sense nothing at all. However, they all feel stood in place upon feeling the key signature that is headed toward them. "Who is that? It feels like Piccolo. I haven't seen him in years," Tien calls out, watching the Namekian flying toward them from the sky. He lands in front of the warriors and looks almost lifeless. He is wearing his purple gi and has glowing red eyes with some metal mechanical finishes across his skin. Here is the perfect weapon, the fighter capable of causing mass destruction. "The Demon King Piccolo," Dr. Gero declares as he stands before the fighter. He remains still and doesn't even show a shed of emotion when looking at the fighters. "Piccolo, you know what you must do. Eliminate these fighters and make sure that Goku is dead once you are done with them," Gero states before flying off. Gohan decides to leap up and chase after the scientist in Super Saiyan. However, he is stopped by this form of Piccolo. He punches him in the chest and sends him flying into the sky before he slowly descends and crashes into the ground several kilometers away. The others look horrified by the sight as he has literally been taken down in a flash. The Super Saiyan prodigy when it comes to power has been knocked out just like that. How has Piccolo managed to become this powerful? Goku flies right toward him and viciously swings his mace at the warrior's face. This attack lands on his cheek and knocks his cheek to the side, but Goku just gets grabbed by the neck. Suddenly, this is when he starts to feel it. Pain. The force around his neck is crushing and he struggles to try and breathe while he is literally panicking. He never expected pain to feel like this and he strugglingly enters Super Saiyan to force the android back with a swing to its face. The attack is powerful and just about gives him a large enough time window to free himself. Goku then swings his mace as hard as he can and manages to get the Demon Piccolo to fall back in reaction. The swinging attack releases a massive shockwave, crippling surrounding buildings in the process, but now the others are terrified. If this warrior has enough power to hurt even Goku, what happens if he isn't enough? As Dr. Gero attempts to fly away, someone else stops him from continuing on. This is Vegeta. "Who do you happen to be?" Vegeta asks, stopping him in place. "Get out of my way, Vegeta. I've been watching you over these years and know everything about you. I don't want to have to kill you here," Dr. Gero declares, trying to move past him. Vegeta just laughs at his sad attempt at intimidation. "I apologize, but I've gotten much stronger and you're the first person I want to test my new powers on," Vegeta says, before speed blitzing the scientist in Super Saiyan. A bluff will never work against Vegeta and the android is immediately hit with an extremely forceful strike to the jaw. He then tries to use his laser vision, but Vegeta stabs his hand right through his chest. He stabs through a vital component in his synthetic frame, making him grunt in agony while also malfunctioning. Goodbye, all-knowing being. You might have seen all my power on this planet, but what about when I go off-world? I'm guessing your scope doesn't reach that far, does it? Vegeta says, before letting the elderly android perish. Goku falls back away from the android while the others watch on in hope as they want him to take down the android. Piccolo, Goku asks, trying to get into the mind of this android. I am no longer Piccolo, I am merely an agent designed to destroy you and your closest companions, Piccolo then explains. Goku doesn't like his threatening reply and shoots himself forward to swing his mate into the ground. His second strike on the floor causes buildings to come crumbling down like before, but these buildings are like towers. The cracks that scurry throughout the street are so deep and intense that the fighters have to enter flight to not fall down. Goku ups the stakes and continues the battle in Super Saiyan 2. With an immediate doubling to his strength, they can see how much stronger he's become. He powerfully swings his mace, but Piccolo evades and lands a palm slam to his chest. This palm slam shoots him down like a rocket straight into the rocky wasteland below. He is forced to block the next attack, that is a Ki Blast, which then causes the surroundings to crumble down. Piccolo remains in flight, menacingly staring down at the fallen Saiyan. The other fighters that watch this are horrified at what they're seeing. All of them remain still in fear and engagement, and someone else has joined this group of frightened fighters, Vegeta. He arrived here confidently ready to show off his new skills with the ascended forms of Super Saiyan. However, once he sees Piccolo fighting Goku and somehow winning, he feels a little concerned. Who is this being that has not only managed to hurt Goku but dominate him in battle so badly? Goku receives punch after punch to the face, causing him to cough out blood and stumble away. Blood comes pouring out his nose and mouth and it feels like it's on fire. The agony from the attacks cripples his mind that has never encountered the sensation before. A hefty punch to the stomach drops him to his knees and he gasps for air after being winded so badly. His mace clanks and rolls away from his descent, and Piccolo then kicks the Saiyan into the air by striking him straight in the face. Goku catches himself in flight, but it's of no use. With Piccolo standing in front of his ultimate weapon, how could he defeat this fighter? The feeling of loss isn't something that Goku has become accustomed to either. Even after all the mental training from the several masters warning him of this inevitability, he never took their words seriously. Even if someone was stronger than him, he assumed his body was an unbreakable armor. However, with his own blood covering his face and gi, he now knows that isn't the case. Ahead of him is Krillin and Tien, who soon arrive, then they lift their hands to their faces. Entering Kaioken ×25, they use simultaneous solar flares to catch Piccolo off guard. The powerful attack blinds the warrior, causing him to shout and grab his eyes in agony. In this short time window that they've been given, Tien grabs Goku and flies away as fast as they can. Dropping their signatures and advising Goku to do the same, Piccolo is left in the dark. Robotically looking at his surroundings, he shoots off in a random direction to begin searching for Goku. On the lookout, they arrive and Kami is horrified by what has happened here. They acquire a sense of being on the way up to the lookout from Korin, so Goku isn't in his roughed up state any longer. Kami peers off the edge of the lookout with a concerned look on his face. He can't believe the events that have transpired, and the others are thinking of ways to try and defeat this android Namekian. They decide to try and utilize the hyperbolic time chamber, where Goku is left out for the first duo that choose to enter. Here, Future Trunks and Gohan enter together, while Goku waits to enter with one of them after. Down on Earth, Vegeta decides to chase after Piccolo and arrives in front of him confidently. Even if Goku was defeated by this fighter, he's gotten more powerful. He's sure that he could clobber the version of Kakarot that he faced with the emergence of the Future Saiyan Trunks. 3 years have passed, and he believes that the gap between him and Kakarot has closed. Vegeta enters his Super Saiyan form and Piccolo makes his stance almost immediately after. If you try and stop me from finding Goku, I will have to get rid of you, Piccolo declares. I like you making such empty threats. I'll show you who you're trying to get rid of, Vegeta roars before he buffs up into his Super Vegeta state. Cackling at the warrior, he flies right toward Piccolo and launches a close-up Big Bang attack. The close-up blast explodes, throwing Piccolo back about a meter or so. Vegeta gets thrown back around the same distance from this damage just as recoil. Following that, a single energy blast shoots out at him from the smoke. It's Piccolo's special beam cannon, and Vegeta coughs blood from the blast piercing through his whole stomach. Even if the blast is thin, he feels great pain since it's gone through his whole body. Piccolo doesn't see a need to kill him since he knows that he isn't Goku or one of his companions. Piccolo is the Demon King and is pure evil, but he has greater priorities. Once he gets rid of Goku, he will figure out what to do next. The Namekian promptly sets off in search of the Saiyan he needs to kill. Goku should have been sent in first, but he wants to provide a little bit of protection since the others just aren't as strong as him. If he can hold off the android for just a day, he's sure that's all they'll need. Luckily, they aren't found very quickly and they remain on the lookout with their signatures kept to an absolute minimum. Piccolo is stronger than Goku in Super Saiyan 2 and he can't properly use his mace because Piccolo is fast enough so that he isn't hit. If he can't actually land an attack, the damage is never caused. Vegeta crashes into the ground at Capsule Corp after losing consciousness in flight. Bulma is horrified and manages to promptly heal Vegeta before he is killed by his life-threatening injuries. The Saiyan receives a Zenkai as a result, and quite a significant one at that. This places him above the likes of future Trunks and Gohan at this point by a rather large margin. In the Capsule Corp, he swears that he'll find that Namekian and put an end to him in revenge. Nobody will get to Goku besides him, and he is going to ensure that is the case. The Saiyan flies off soon after in pursuit of this Namekian being. Gohan and Trunks continue their training and their relationship is quite odd. Trunks sees a lot about his trainer future Gohan in his present counterpart, so acts as if he's closer to the boy than he actually is. It's a weird dynamic, but they soon draw closer, not as master and student but more like fellow fighters. The two fighters ascend past the ordinary Super Saiyan form in no time, and Trunks doesn't have to hide his power like he did in canon. He initially didn't want to annoy his arrogant father since he surpassed him, forcing him to hide his strength and likely hamper his growth. Here, Gohan is not arrogant at all and more than willing to fight someone stronger than himself so that he can grow as well. Also, Gohan is not Vegeta and possesses an enormous amount of talent. He is a hybrid Saiyan as well after all. This allows him to grow in power extremely quickly and he surpasses Trunks in mere months. Vegeta finds Piccolo again, continuing on his search for Goku. The Namekian seems annoyed by being unable to locate Goku but simultaneously emotionless. It's weird for Vegeta to describe as he can see the colliding lifelike feelings and the mechanical nature of the being. "Do not block me again, I'll kill you if you do not comply," Piccolo declares. "If there's one lesson I can give to you is never give Saiyans time to grow. Our strength might have a limit at a certain point in time, but if you let us grow, we'll continuously break our limits and redefine our strength." He crouches down and begins utilizing every ounce of power that he now has. He enters his Super Vegeta state but reaches further. He can feel that there is a step ahead and his power is urging him to continue on. It's like there is a bottomless well of power that he hasn't tapped into yet. His transformation is chaotic and causes streaks of lightning and energy to appear around his muscular frame. Soon his muscles slim down and his hair becomes spikier, then he enters his Super Saiyan 2 form. The others on the lookout intently lock onto their signatures and assess what's going on. They feel grateful that Vegeta has decided to take the attention away from them for at least a period of time, but they are also frightened at how strong he's become. The humans feel vulnerable yet again due to their inability to contend with these Saiyans. Zooming forward in his new form with a smile of excitement, he punches the Namekian square on his chest, then throws another punch to the face. His second punch manages to move Piccolo's head, but that's practically all it does. Vegeta receives a monster of a punch to the jaw, spitting out a mix of spit and blood. Piccolo then gut punches him, knocking the wind right out of him. Piccolo continues his brutal, relentless assault, and Vegeta can do nothing to resist it. Whenever he tries to throw a punch back at this Namekian, he seems to just evade the incoming blast and throw one that's twice as hard. Vegeta just about manages to throw his body out the line of trajectory of an incoming punch, but he just receives a kick straight onto his sternum. The force applied to his rib cage causes some of them to fracture, causing a great sharp pain in his chest. Each time he breathes, the agony only intensifies, and as he tries to fly forward to attack him again, the pain flares up greatly. Coughing out blood, he hisses while grasping onto his injured torso. He wants to continue fighting, but his body continuously stops him from advancing. The pain is just too much for him to steal through. Before he can gain the courage to continue, he can sense the energy of two fighters closing in on him and the Namekian. In front of him, two fighters in Super Saiyan block his view. "Move back, Vegeta, we can take care of this fighter for you," Trunks says, waving him back. Vegeta has no clue who this person on the left is and doesn't understand how just every Saiyan has become a Super Saiyan now. He felt that him and Goku had something unique with their ability to become Super Saiyans. Judging from the way it was portrayed in Saiyan Legend, there was supposed to be one Saiyan blessed with this immense power. However, it looks like the power isn't as unique as it was portrayed to be in Legend. Gohan shouts, channeling his inner rage to try and power himself up as much as he can. From training with Trunks, he found that his rage is a key asset to him in battle. He shoots himself at Piccolo and clashes with him before blocking a punch from the muscular Namekian. Gritting his teeth from taking this attack, he makes sure to try and evade the next before he swings a kick in his direction. Piccolo simply backs away and his move misses the target. Gohan Super Saiyan won't give him adequate strength to even think of taking down this fighter, but he can see that he is making progress. Gohan was already immensely strong before entering the hyperbolic time chamber. Compared to his canon self at the same time, it's not even close. With a year of additional training with future Trunks, his power has exploded even further. Gohan continues shouting, harnessing the anger that he'd learned to do in the chamber. He thinks back to the feelings that he had when sparring with Trunks, using the same techniques to harness his unique power. In this moment, his hair stands on end in the dramatic transformation into Super Saiyan 2. Gohan stares down Piccolo with a sharp, focused gaze. The android does not feel fear from this, however, and looks more than ready to continue. The two warriors slam into each other, throwing haymakers wherever they can. Both connect with various attacks, and Trunks looks astonished with how far this literal boy has come in this time. He's supposed to be a prepubescent Saiyan, but still fights like a valiant warrior that has been doing this for decades on end. Gohan, with his arms up, receives numerous punches onto them before he suddenly falls. Using his flight to drop down with immense speed, he launches the Kamehameha wave up at Piccolo. The Namekian android catches the blue energy wave and shakes upon taking the force of the blast. Hope is here, they might just have a chance. Gohan pours every ounce of strength that he can into the blast, and future Trunks decides to power up too. He enters Super Saiyan 2 and shoots an energy blast from a wildly different angle from Gohan. This forces Piccolo to split his power to stop both blasts from coming near him. The android continues pushing at both blasts and doesn't look like he will be succumbing to the force of the energy waves anytime soon. Trunks vehemently roars, pouring every ounce of pent-up anger and rage into this one energy wave. He thinks back to the savage murder and death that Piccolo has caused. He stopped at nothing to find Goku and decided to murder innocents when those around him prevented him from realizing his goals. The death of Gohan and all of those who protected him in his own timeline make him significantly stronger. However, they just can't get the android to budge. His arms do not bend under the impact of the blast, and the Saiyans soon start to tire. They can't output that much power into a blast for so long, and they slowly get weaker and weaker. Before they fizzle out though, it seems like the resistance suddenly fades and the bright light is given off with the ensuing explosion. The people watching struggle to keep their eyes open and end up looking away. They all snap their eyes right back onto the android's location as soon as they can to see what's happened. Much to their dismay, the android stands there with just minor injuries to its person. Gohan and Trunks are literally lost for words while panting from using up so much energy. Piccolo begins to fly straight for Gohan, but Trunks stops him. "Wait Piccolo, you want Goku so bad? In a day's time we will bring him here." "I won't follow your rules, I will find the Saiyan on my own terms," Piccolo shouts, glaring back at the future Saiyan. His menacing glare causes a tingling feeling to run down his spine, but he remains bold and assertive in his requests. "You won't find him alone. In 24 hours he will come to you. If you're so strong, then there's nothing to worry about," Trunks smartly claims. This changes the whole dynamic, and Piccolo soon looks less threatening than he once did. His fists relax and the surrounding Saiyans calm their breathing, having placated their enemy. "If you do not follow your terms, I will get rid of hundreds of thousands of lives," Piccolo shouts at the group before flying off. With this ample time, Goku enters with Gohan and begins training with him. Goku's training consists of mainly growing Gohan's power, while he must use solitary training to make himself stronger. His proficiency with the mace increases further, and he wants to make sure that he is fast with it. The mace makes his strikes immensely powerful, but it does nothing to amplify his speed. He needs to make sure that his speed is sufficient to actually hit the target. A full day passes just as Trunks advised, and the two Saiyans emerge. Goku looks forward with razor sharp focus and his Garda in hand. He looks more than ready to go. As for Gohan, he has managed to grow significantly stronger as well. Vegeta has been left in the dust by all these fighters. Gohan was already stronger than Vegeta before he entered the hyperbolic time chamber, so now that he has gone in twice, he has become significantly stronger. These two Saiyans now reign as the very strongest on the planet. Gohan can now use Super Saiyan 2 for longer periods of time and has increased his base power level an extraordinary amount. As for Goku, the benefits that he's received are endless. He wishes nothing but pain and destruction on the Namekian and will make sure he fulfills his wish. The group arrived just where Piccolo was left before Gohan went off to train. Here he is sat with his legs crossed in meditation. It seems that the Namekian hasn't lost all of his tendencies, still training in a similar format to before he was turned into an android. However, Goku harshly lands on a rock hill beside him in this wasteland. Piccolo's eyes light up once he sees Goku and he gives off a devilish smile. "You Saiyans are stupid for bringing yourselves to me," Piccolo declares before lifting to then stop at Goku's level. "I don't think so," Goku quickly snaps back, making his own battle stance. Piccolo shoots off the ground, cracking it from the amount of force he outputs. He wildly swings at Goku, who blocks his initial attack in Super Saiyan. The hit throws him right off the rock he was previously standing on, and the fight enters 100% mode right away. The two fighters begin trading powerful blows, but Goku just can't seem to land any hits with his mace. Piccolo is way faster and is only playing with him right now. He only makes sure to evade every attack coming specifically from the mace because he knows how strong it is. Goku decides to up his power to Super Saiyan 2, and the Saiyans are surprised with the ease with which he transformed. For them, they have to change their ki and focus their effort on their transformation to ascend. As for Goku, he's instead entered Super Saiyan 2 while continuing on fighting. Piccolo throws a wild swing at Goku, but he dips under it and violently swings his mace right at his opponent's face. The connection causes the signature shockwave to appear from the impact location and shoots Piccolo away like an arrow. He's only propelled a few meters before he grinds to a halt, and that hit doesn't mean it's the end of the world for Piccolo, however it's hope. You call us stupid for waiting a day to bring me here. I think you're the stupid one for leaving a Saiyan to his own devices for 24 whole hours, Gohan boldly says, making the others confused. His power climbs and climbs, causing waves and waves of air and ki to be blasted out at the spectating warriors. The transformation is incredibly intense, causing the surrounding area to rumble intensely. Looking at the wasteland they're in, they can see large sections of rock hills crumbling in landslides, releasing clouds of loose debris. Goku's lifted hair flattens down over his back, then begins to lengthen. He looks more vascular than before, with visible veins pulsating under his skin. A final roar causes a powerful outburst of energy, and once the light dims, Goku is revealed in his brand new Super Saiyan 3 form. Now 4 times stronger, the Divine Saiyan remains in flight and glares at Piccolo confidently. His long flowing hair glistens under the sunlight and his golden aura gives him a radiant appearance. Goku almost appears in front of Piccolo from his insane speed and swings down his mace. His strike lands and the immense shockwave from this strike is released. Gohan, watching this, gets blown back from the released blast of wind, and Piccolo is shot into the ground so fast that a crater forms. Goku zooms down and throws another strike in quick succession, making Piccolo grunt in pain. His mace lands straight on his chest and he can feel and hear a crack from the impact. Here's his chance. Piccolo takes him off guard with a punch straight on his jaw that throws him back. He receives another strike but smiles after taking the attacks. Swinging his mace at Piccolo's jaw, he is thrown onto his hands and knees and coughs out blood upon taking the hit. No, there's no way. How could he let Goku take him down with the mission that he was given? He was tasked with killing Goku, not being killed by him. Piccolo roars and begins making the ground shake intensely. Goku looks on in horror as it looks like Piccolo still has power left for him to utilize. His glowing red eyes stay fixated on Goku as his muscles bulge and look much larger than before. He begins using every ounce of strength that Dr. Gero had in store for him, and his eyes become bloodshot. He looks like a maniac with his rage and appearance, but Goku can only imagine how much stronger he's become. Being an android, his lack of a signature leaves Goku in a blinding cloud of uncertainty, and he simply doesn't know what he's getting into. Once he tries to hit Piccolo with his mace, much to his dismay, he realizes that he can no longer hit the target. Without an amplification to speed, he must be faster than his opponent to deal proper damage. In this case, he is not, and he simply doesn't hit the target. Piccolo continues evading his attacks and unloads with various punches and kicks that Goku struggles to handle. Kicks to his flank, punches straight down on the nose, and even the chest to affect his breathing. Goku is eventually punched into the side of a crater that he'd formed. The harsh, forceful impact then makes him cough blood. Fighting Piccolo, being an android with infinite stamina, is a struggle when he uses such a taxing form like Super Saiyan 3. Piccolo slowly approaches him and the Saiyan is too fatigued to do much in resistance. A single punch to the gut drops him to his knees while making him cough blood. He reverts to ordinary Super Saiyan from his injuries and fatigue, struggling to raise back up to his feet. The Namekian can't help but crack a smile as his programming floods his mind with dopamine from achieving his goal. However, the Demon King is pure evil. He doesn't care that he accomplished his goal. He seeks destruction and strife. Piccolo turns and looks at the friends of Goku, struggling to comprehend his seemingly limitless power. Even with Goku alive and ready to fight this being, they still have been defeated all the same. Future Trunks can't believe that this timeline might suffer the same fate as his own, and he can't stand to see that happen. He did not come all the way to this timeline just to see it fall. He roars and enters Super Saiyan 2 using every ounce of power that he has. Future Trunks' mind has fallen victim to hysteria and irrationality. Basic logic tells him that there is nothing he can do here, but he can't stand to sit back idly. Future Trunks throws punch after punch onto his person, continuously attacking. Piccolo just stands there, unbothered by the needless assault. Out of nowhere, Piccolo drives his fist through his chest. Future Trunks, with his fist cocked back, comes to a grinding halt from taking this fatal shot. The Namekian rips his fist out like a savage would and his body lifelessly drops. Goku can't stand to watch this happen, but he feels powerless. He can't even hit the android, who is not only stronger than him but substantially faster. In the skies watching this is Vegeta. Reading between the lines, he has discerned that the man stood there was his son from the future, Trunks. He struggles to even wrap his head around how that's the case and around what's happening right now. He doesn't even know what to feel. Indifference, grief, rage? Yes, rage. Standing behind and watching all these events play out, Vegeta feels an inexorably growing sense of rage and fury. However, what grows alongside that is fear. As much as he hates to admit it, he knows how strong Kakarot is. If he wasn't sufficient to defeat this warrior, he most likely won't be either. Piccolo lifts his hands to the group and begins growing 2 large blasts of ki. The group know what is about to come and many of them power up to protect themselves. The odds are against them, but they can't just sit and be killed like livestock. They won't go gentle into that good night. Goku is still weak and feels burning agony across his entire body, but he eventually stands. Piccolo sees this from the corner of his vision and he incredulously looks back at the previously fallen Saiyan. There is a glowing energy that forms within his hand and the divine Vijaya bow manifests into his very palms. Not exactly knowing how to use this weapon, he must act fast before Piccolo tries to destroy his friends and himself. Android aims a ki blast back at Goku and enlarges both until they are about the size of a person's torso. The dark purple balls of ki look like pure darkness and destruction as they crackle with purplish black lightning. With a quill now on Goku's shoulder, he pulls an arrow and fires one off by pulling back the bow as far as he can. The force needed to move the bow will make it feel like steel to an ordinary human, but this is so more force can be placed into the actual arrow projectile. It soars through the air with immense speed and gives off a light whistle as it travels. The arrowhead pierces right through the Namekian's upper chest, making him stagger. Taking a large gasp of shock, the blasts wither away into nothing and he soon collapses to the ground. The android has been defeated. Goku feels a sudden rush of relief and accomplishment, but the wariness of his body soon sets in. He collapses soon after, just giving a thumbs up to his friends to show that he's alive. Goku has taken the win in the end, murdering the powerful demon that is Piccolo. Kami watches this from the lookout and gives off a selfless smile of happiness, knowing that his time is over. The Namekian collapses, losing his life as well. Luckily, future Trunks is not dead, and with a Zensu Bean, he is revived minutes before he was projected to lose his life. However, with no Dragon Balls, they need to head back to Namek to find a way to revive Kami. During that time, Bulma operates on the fallen Piccolo so that when he returns to life, he won't be the same warmongering maniac that he was before. She also spends time removing the self-destruction bomb within his body. They arrive on Namek in a month and revive Kami. Before then, Piccolo is returned to his usual self, and this isn't exactly a very cooperative, happy Piccolo. However, he is internally grateful for being liberated from that mad scientist's control. Of course, he doesn't say this, but doesn't act rude to Bulma or the others that are present. He remains silent and he has been through quite a lot. He was traumatized as a test subject of Dr. Gero, who saw no value in his actual life. He only saw him as a pawn to exact his revenge on Goku. There's a whirlpool of emotions that he feels, but without someone to really talk to, he bottles them all up and silently flies off. With the start of the 7-year time skip, Trunks thinks he still won't be enough to take down Piccolo in his own universe. He needs the power that eclipses what he has now, and that requires further training. Before he has the chance to think of what to do, he is confronted by his father. He does reveal that he is his son from the future upon being interrogated, and gives his father the request for him to be trained in the hyperbolic time chamber with him. Vegeta is up for more training but doesn't see any need to train somebody like him up. Then again, he knows how strong Gohan is, so if he can train his son so that he surpasses Goku's, that's a job well done on his end. After further convincing, Vegeta begrudgingly gives in, only agreeing to train him if he is strong enough. How strong being strong enough isn't quantified by Vegeta, leaving Trunks very uncertain about how the entire training with his father is going to go. Luckily, the Saiyan Prince agrees that he is strong enough to train with him in the chamber. Vegeta fights with everything that he has to make sure that Trunks can surpass Gohan. At the end of the year, the Saiyan Prince is satisfied with his son's progress, but doesn't say that, of course. He continues to berate his form, power and style throughout the entire year to act as if he is dissatisfied with him. Also, he is quite spiteful because Trunks turns out to be superior to him in strength. Trunks has acquired the power of Super Saiyan 3 after seeing his father achieve such a power. Vegeta has learned to put his ego aside a lot more. This is what he had to do with Trunks and Bulma instead of just being totally invested in trying to surpass Goku. However, the sense of inferiority he feels is always at the back of his mind. Future Trunks, even after this year, doesn't feel strong enough. This is where Goku comes in. He saw what that arrow did to Piccolo and decides to hand Future Trunks one. If he just stabs him with it, it might have a similar effect. Future Trunks takes the chance and returns to the future, happy to see that Goku's theory was correct. Upon first encountering Piccolo, a single stab from the arrow leaves him gasping for air like he's suffocating. The divine arrow kills the Namekian in one blow. Now what comes is the following 7-year time skip. During this time, something special happens between Goku and Vegeta. With Goku not dead like in canon, there is a brewing sense of rivalry between them. Vegeta goes through quite the improvement in character during this time. From what he observes, there are two options for him going forward. Either he sulks in his inferiority and continues to be arrogant and trains alone, or he can capitalize on the other stronger Saiyans that surround him, then train with them to improve his own strength. The fact that Vegeta frequently sees Gohan and Goku training at the start of this time skip makes him think differently about isolating himself from them. Now, this doesn't mean that he doesn't have his sessions off-world where he chooses to train on his own. However, he starts opening up to them in the form of training to try and improve his own strength. Gohan also continues his training from seeing how strong he is. Due to inheriting some of Goku's characteristics hailing from Hanuman G, he feels a greater desire to protect those who cannot protect themselves. This leads him to continue his training alongside education. With this split, Gohan sees a great improvement in power and accesses the power of Super Saiyan 3 soon after. The three Saiyans constantly grow in strength, challenging each other whenever they can. Goku and Vegeta's rivalry grows surprisingly friendly as they are just around each other a significant amount. During the latter half of this time skip, somebody then starts training alongside these warriors. Piccolo. It turns out that he is very powerful as an android and does lag behind the others when they use their Saiyan transformations. When they use lesser forms though, he can be a challenge for them. Goku also loves training with Piccolo because that means he can be hurt, heal and grow Zenkais from fighting him. The Buu Saga comes along soon and the World Tournament is here. The several fighters are eager to show off their powers and Gohan stands against Kibito. The Kai requests for him to transform and Gohan promptly does so. A much more seamless transformation, he enters Super Saiyan 3 and ends up breaking apart large portions of the arena. Suddenly he is assailed by Yamu and Spopovich that take a very large portion of his ki. With Gohan being substantially stronger, they look delighted to see the meter on their little device soar way past what Babidi instructed them to bring along. The other Saiyans are shocked by the events that have transpired and follow right after the fighters to see where they're headed. Gohan is given a senzu bean to heal himself and follows promptly after. Arriving at Babidi's spaceship, Dabura arrives and shoots spit at the likes of Piccolo and Krillin. With both fighters being levels above the power that they previously had, they sidestep to evade the incoming saliva. In that same motion, Piccolo extends his arm and shoots a quick fire special beam cannon. The attack does great at damaging those stronger than himself and he has added further refinements to the attack over the years. The attack pierces right through the demon's chest and kills him in a flash. He drops dead before he even has the chance to go on and kill Kibito. What do you think is happening here? Gohan asks, with his arms crossed. I don't know, but I feel like there might be a strong fighter for us to face, Goku says, smiling with growing excitement. I heavily doubt that, Kakarot. When have we ever met somebody that matches us Saiyans? Vegeta asks, pridefully. Piccolo gives him a glance and even though he has stood several tens of meters from him, his keen hearing means that he heard him say this perfectly. Anyhow, they head into the ship and take down the very weak foes that they meet. Upon reaching the bottom level of this mysterious spaceship, they are transported out of it right away. Here, Babidi took the chance to absorb even more energy from the individuals and now has more than enough energy to summon the being that is Majin Buu. Upon watching the ball activate, Gohan launches a full power Kamehameha to try and get rid of it. His blast hits the brown ball, protecting and housing Buu, obliterating it. Much to their dismay, however, Buu remains in a gaseous cloud of pink matter in the sky. The matter soon condenses and transforms into Majin Buu himself. Upon seeing the image of this fighter, the Z fighters just don't look panicked in the slightest. Vegeta just laughs and wants to take on the fight first. The others don't see a reason to not let him do so and he springs off and toward the fighter in his base form. He lands a straight punch with immense power straight onto the being and this Vegeta far outclasses the previous Vegeta in canon. With years of sparring stronger opponents, instead of quitting fighting then training on his own, he's had a bunch of space for optimal growth. The punch blasts open Buu's gut, but it just mends itself together with ease. Vegeta throws another few attacks and soon realizes that this warrior seems to just be unable to be put down. No matter how hard he tries, the warrior just continues to piece itself back together and render his combinations of attacks useless. Here, Vegeta's quite frankly had enough. He feels like he has more than enough power to take Buu out, so he wants to do this in one clean shot. Majin Buu has gotten stronger in this timeline, but Vegeta is much stronger. The Saiyan transforms into a Super Saiyan 3 state and blows away the likes of Babidi with his pure strength. His transformation isn't as long but just as explosive as the transformation of Goku into Super Saiyan 3 in canon. It's felt across the earth and he makes the surrounding area rumble intensely. He can make this transition into Super Saiyan 3 more controlled and calmer, but Vegeta is looking for complete flair here. He doesn't care about controlling his ki and maximizing his endurance. He doesn't think he'll be in this form for long anyway. Vegeta extends both his hands and the others know exactly what he's doing. With Vegeta's Gallic gun superior to Goku's Kamehameha wave, I believe this blast is much better than that technique as well. That here's the final flash. Golden energy cloaks his hands and Majin Buu just laughs upon seeing him do this. Eventually, after far too long, Buu gets the initiative to try and attack him, but Vegeta shoots off his massive blast. The force behind the blast makes the ground crack under his planted feet and Buu is destroyed in this golden blast of electricity and energy. The spectacle is fascinating for the Kais, who never thought Saiyans had the capability to reach this level. Their eyes are wide open as they incredulously watch Majin Buu be shredded apart even at the molecular level. As the blast fades, the surrounding area has been razed to the ground and not even a little blob of Buu remains. Like Kid Buu's fate in Goku's devastating Spirit Bomb, there is no coming back from that damage. The being is gone for good. With Babidi frightened and struggling to think of options, he attempts to escape only to meet the invisible laser beam of Shin. His eyes light up with ki and the magician receives a fatal blow straight to his chest, being killed just like that. With that, the fight is over and Peach returns to Earth rather quickly. After this time skip, things are pretty much the same for the likes of Goku, Gohan and Vegeta. Gohan works a part-time job working like any other human would, but he also gets big-time payments as the Great Saiyaman through certain events that he takes part in. He does this in this timeline principally because it allows him to train and work less often. The only reason he continues with his corporate job is because he just likes the work that he does. What is massive about Piccolo is the method that he can train in due to his infinite stamina. Because of this, once Piccolo realizes how much he can abuse his infinite stamina as an android, he starts growing pretty quickly. Whenever he trains, there is no need for him to take a break and rest. He can just continue training, improving his body in perpetuity. We saw this with Android 17, who was able to battle Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Even if it was a spar and Goku was most likely not going all out, it's still an incredible achievement since he had to grow from his previous Cell Saga self. The same self that couldn't even defeat Super Namekian Piccolo. This makes the android Namekian a formidable fighter and he can stomp the likes of even base Super Saiyan Vegeta, Goku and Gohan combined. The several years pass and Beerus wakes up from his crazily long slumber. Dreaming of the Super Saiyan God, he arrives on Earth in a similar fashion but doesn't stop off at King Kai's planet this time. This is because Goku isn't training there. He arrives and meets 4 fighters training together in a rocky wasteland. They can see smoke emitting from several rocky hills and boulders around them. This is basically the group's training ground. They can let off powerful blasts and train to their heart's content. They can do all this without worrying about affecting other humans on the planet. They just make sure to keep themselves alert in case there's some hiker or something in the area. At this point, Vegeta embarrassingly just remembers that it's his wife's birthday party and gets ready to leave with the others, but he then sees Beerus land in front of them. Oh wow, it's the son, Prince Vegeta IV. It's great to see you after all this time, Beerus says, surprised by how much the boy's grown. Vegeta is spooked by this god's sudden arrival and falls back in fear. He knows just how much authority this fighter had over pretty much everybody he encountered. There was no challenging this man, his word was paramount, absolute. However, couldn't he say the same for him if he was in that situation? If he was to try and act as a leader over his father now and even Frieza, he'd surely take the same position. Therefore, Vegeta fights his fears and talks to him more boldly. "Why are you here?" he asks, with a bold voice. Beerus steps forward and the ruse of confidence that Vegeta put crumbles as the distance between him and the God of Destruction decreases. "I saw a special being in my dreams, a Saiyan, the Super Saiyan God. I was wondering if any of you Saiyans claim that title." The Saiyans stay silent since they really haven't heard of that name before. Vegeta simply does not want to disappoint this man, but Goku has no clue who this person is. Alongside that, he is fearless. Incorporating the attributes of canon Goku along with Hanumanji's inherent fearlessness, why would he act frightened now just because Vegeta is? On his back is the Vijaya bow and on his waist is his special divine mace. With these weapons at hand, he feels ready to go. "Oh, he looks a lot like a cat," Goku stupidly says, catching the attention of the others who are stood there. "Where is your respect?" Vegeta says through his clenched teeth. "It's not a bother, Vegeta, it just seems that he doesn't know how to address a god when he sees one," Beerus replies. "I give my deepest apologies, Lord Beerus. Anyways, I regret to inform you that we do not have any knowledge of the Super Saiyan God. We are Super Saiyans, but that is the limit to our transformations." "Ah, okay, I must say I am deeply disappointed. We stated that you three were the strongest Saiyan, so I doubt I'll find my Super Saiyan God near this planet, Beerus states. How about we spar, show you how strong I am, Goku says, stepping forward. Gohan just shakes his head along with the other two from Goku's clear lack of respect. I would like to see what this Super Saiyan power is like. Alright then, show me what you're made of, Beerus says with his hands by his back. The other Saiyans step away and Goku arms himself with his divine mace before transforming into Super Saiyan. This is ordinary Super Saiyan, the first state, Goku states. Following this, he actually enters Super Saiyan Grade 3. This form I like to call Ascended Super Saiyan. It makes me much stronger but hinders my speed, Goku says, receiving a nod of understanding from the God of Destruction. Powering up further, he enters Super Saiyan 2 before finishing off with Super Saiyan 3. Now this is the strongest Super Saiyan form, Super Saiyan 3. You can tell that Goku has become less relaxed in this intense Super Saiyan form and he looks ready to fight instead. Alright then, show me what this form is made of, Beerus commands. Goku shouts and shoots himself straight at the likes of Beerus. Swinging his mace down at him, all the god needs to do is step to the side to dodge his swing entirely. Once he notices the enlarging shockwave, he leaps right over it to dodge. Gracefully landing back on the floor, Goku tries to take him off guard by speeding to his side. Ready to swing his mace out again, Beerus swivels past the swing and the shockwave is aimed away from him, causing no proper damage to the god. Goku continues swinging and swinging at him until he receives a finger flick to his forehead. This sends him crashing through the ground and flying away, confirming Vegeta's suspicions about the god's power. Surprisingly though, Goku stands with not a single injury whatsoever. His body was only thrown away due to the force behind the hit. Goku shouts and swings down his mace again, only to receive a tap to the back of his neck. Falling forward, he just turns and faces Beerus again, who is a little confused. He was sure that the last neck tap was enough to knock the Saiyan out, but he is still up like he didn't even get hit in the first place. Therefore, Beerus decides to put a little more oomph into his next strike. He zooms ahead and with his much greater speed than his opponent, he strikes him in the stomach to launch him hundreds of meters away. He is sent rolling and tumbling through the wasteland ground until he slams into a rock pillar that he doesn't properly fall through. He still has his mace in hand though and didn't feel any pain from the attack. Beerus is now spooked by the Saiyan's inherent durability. As he watches him zoom back in his direction, the God of Destruction smiles. He wants to test out just how durable this fighter is. He engulfs in his Fury aura, releasing a pressure that the other Saiyans can't even detect. However, it's intense and illustrates his immense strength. Beerus looks forward his fist in a similar manner to before, but puts a lot more force into it this time. The impact sounds akin to an explosion, destroying a large portion of the ground surrounding the god. The Saiyans can feel the rumble in the air and ground unsteadied by the hit. Goku is launched into the sky, but he grinds himself to a halt and dives back down to land in front of Beerus, unbothered by his assault. What is this Whis? I hit him with enough power to even make Champa feel it. How has he incurred no injury? It's odd, but this Saiyan possesses a unique sense of limitless durability. Only certain types of individuals can cause him pain and injury, and you don't seem to be one of them, sir, Whis explains. Beerus can't help but smile upon hearing this, but he doesn't believe this at first. How could somebody just be unable to be hurt? His durability might be very good, but he believes that he has what it takes to make this warrior draw blood. As a result, he crouches down and begins powering up at a level never seen in the actual series. His shout is powerful and frightening for the spectators, except for Whis of course. After they've lived together for eons on end, this is an event he's witnessed innumerable times. Shooting himself toward to attack Goku, the ground shatters from his force and speed. None of the mortals even perceive his movement and only witness Goku flying away into the sky. They didn't even see the attack land, it was that fast. The punch still inevitably causes him no harm once Goku returns to face him. Goku swings his mace wildly once again, only to see that Beerus is far too quick to be hit by his petty strikes. Stop, mortal, it doesn't seem like our fights will amount to much, Beerus explains, causing him to drop his mace. Your power is quite fascinating, you're much weaker than I, but you can take any attack I throw at you, Beerus says, looking in shock at the Saiyan's body. He just wonders what it's made of to take attacks from a person much more powerful than itself. It doesn't seem practical for Beerus to be able to try and fight Goku after what he's seen and heard. If Goku really can just take on any attack, it doesn't matter how strong he becomes. Even if he manages to achieve the Super Saiyan God form somehow, he won't actually be able to do anything to injure him. Here though, Beerus and Whis follow the group to Bulma's birthday party and try out the amazing food that they have on offer there. This time the event is much more peaceful and it's just like they have more guests. Of course, it's not like they had a choice in the matter, but still. Goku's invincibility has almost mollified the warrior and he seems much more invested in eating literally everything in sight on the cruise ship. Beerus isn't believing of Goku's strength and has been given a new reason to actually take training somewhat seriously. I mean, Beerus does not seem like the most disciplined person, but since he's managed to grow to that level of strength, I'm sure he can get some good training in. Now the Saiyans are picked up by Whis for training right away. He sees great potential in them and Piccolo follows along with them. Whis considers Piccolo's infinite stamina and makes sure to train him the hardest since he can keep up with it. He never ever seems out of breath. I mean, his breathing rate does increase so he can power himself, but he never gasses out. Along with that, Piccolo is also given the power of God Ki. Upon using this ki, this gives him a special state that I will like to call Super Namekian God. It makes him totally red in appearance and is like Toppo's aura of a god form along with Orange Piccolo in a way. It's just a Namekian transformation for the use of God Ki. When he uses this form, he gives every other Saiyan a run for their money, even in their strongest forms. His training speed is up to par with the Saiyans, as even if he doesn't get large Zenkais from being beaten down heavily, his increase in power is more constant. Even if it's very slight, it happens all the time. This gives Piccolo the very first lead over the Saiyans after so many years. He is now the strongest of the Z fighters, if you can even call them that still, now that we're in Super. Of course, with Goku's weapons, he's no match for him. He makes sure to never use the Vijaya bow with Piccolo because of how deadly it is to him. One little puncture could end his life completely, but the mace is all he needs to overpower him. Frieza is soon revived and trains like before to unlock the special power of Golden Frieza. Frieza arrives on Earth and meets similar resistance from before, only to see Piccolo and Gohan standing beside each other staring him down. He can see the resemblance between Gohan and Goku while also seeing that Piccolo is a Namekian. Ah, the son of Goku, I presume, alongside a Namekian. I'm surprised that you people still survived after my father's incursion, Frieza says, approaching them with his pod. I know nothing of such an event. I have never been to my home planet. This planet is my home, Piccolo replies boldly. Frieza, upon approaching him, can see the metallic synthetic finishes to his body. He doesn't think much of it and continues talking. Anyhow, I don't believe it's smart for you to oppose me now. I am not even here for you both, I am here for Goku, Frieza explains. As he says this, Goku walks from behind the duo that stand before him. If it's me you want, then fine. I'll never step down from a good fight, Goku says, making his stance. His mace and bow jiggle from this sudden movement and Frieza now sits face to face with Goku. They stare each other down, both fearless. They each have gone through some intensive training and feel like they can overpower the other. However, Goku is clearly closer to the truth than his adversary. Frieza leaps out his pod, then transforms into his final form, shocking the likes of Goku. This is the power I was hiding before you took me down. You defeated me when I was using a mere sliver of my power. That doesn't matter. You still can't hurt me and you're not strong enough to stop me hurting you either. Frieza then remembers the odd abilities of this Saiyan as he says this. It seems like his body cannot be affected by damage of that manner. Even the use of his death beam would be useless against him, possibly even in his golden form. However, Frieza doesn't know that Goku is totally invincible. The concept of being an unbreakable wall in a sense isn't a very easy concept for the likes of Frieza and Beerus to get their heads around. It just doesn't make much sense at all really. How could someone be totally invincible? Anyways, Frieza's base strength has also climbed tremendously. What's a sturdy fighter going to do to him now? Frieza shouts and begins the battle in style, throwing a flurry of punches at Goku. Upon beginning the assault, the others can immediately tell that Frieza has gotten stronger. They were expecting this to be a complete wipeout, but it isn't quite the fashion that they expected. Goku grabs Frieza's extended arm, then taps the fighter on his neck. The force behind the tap makes Frieza stumble away, coughing blood from the initial contact. Goku is levels above the canon version of himself by this point. His power level was literally in the millions at birth. No final form Frieza, even after that training, could give him trouble. Frieza falls back from taking this attack and enters his dazzling Golden Frieza form. In this new state, he has more hope in himself to take down Goku and shoots forward with much greater speed. This time, it's speed that Goku cannot handle. He is startled by a sudden assault, receiving a straight punch to his face. The Saiyan looks a little frustrated as no matter how hard he focuses, he just can't keep his eyes open from the constant bombs being thrown to his face. The pain isn't a factor of course since he feels none, but he just can't keep himself still. Therefore, he throws himself back with a backflip and enters his new form, Super Saiyan Blue. The Saiyans have gotten this form earlier than before since they started training with Whis a little earlier as well. Frieza isn't bothered by such a transformation, but is bothered by the fact that there is not even a graze on Goku's skin. Frieza, there's no need to continue fighting. There's nothing you can do to hurt me, Goku declares, confident in his new godly Saiyan state. Frieza curses upon thinking that this just might be true. Even if Goku couldn't land a hit on him before, and even if he can't before, it doesn't matter. If he can't injure Goku no matter how strong he is, what is the actual point of fighting at all? The sense of defeat weighs on Frieza, as even after those several months of training he has done nothing to make himself stronger. Well, he just hasn't made any progress toward actually defeating Goku. The fighter flies off in anger, making Sorbet leave the planet as he heads on a mission. The others have no clue what he's up to, but are just happy to see that he is off-world and no longer their problem. As for Frieza though, he heads to the planet of Namek. Upon arriving in his final form, he demands for the Dragon Balls to enter his hands. The Namekians can feel his dangerous power and are forced to comply. With the 7 Dragon Balls and a Namekian translator taken as hostage, the Dragon Purunga appears before Frieza, Sorbet and this poor Namekian. Explain to me how Goku cannot be hurt, I need answers, Frieza orders. I'm sorry, I don't know who this Goku person is, the young Namekian truthfully states. It doesn't matter, this thing should, Frieza claims. He has 2 more wishes and it doesn't matter anyway. His powers are due to an inherent divine ability of invincibility, Purunga bluntly replies. It's the answer that Frieza wanted, but he is left unsatisfied. He inevitably wants to figure out a way to work around his abilities. How do I hurt him if he's invincible? Frieza asks. The Namekian is forced to translate his message and Purunga then speaks. You have to become a sufficiently powerful demon, Purunga explains. Frieza smiles upon hearing this. The Namekian is now shaking upon anticipation of the final wish that he will be forced to make. You know what my final wish is then. Turn me into a demon. Now what follows for the Warriors is the Universe 6 saga. Goku and the Saiyans get ready to head over to the tournament by spending a few years in the hyperbolic time chamber just as they'd done previously. Here they make astounding progress. Piccolo starts rivaling the Saiyans even when they're in Super Saiyan Blue. As for Goku though, the same can't be said. Even in just his standard godly Namekian form, he can completely overpower the likes of even Vegeta. Out of the Saiyans, Vegeta is the weakest. Following him is Gohan, then Goku by a significant margin. Piccolo and Goku get a much better relationship with each other because they spar with each other so much. Goku can only be hurt by him, so he's his only chance at properly sparring. Now what comes next is the actual tournament. Vegeta is placed first and annihilates the first few fighters with ease. As for Cabba, he still gives him the ability to use Super Saiyan and ends up defeating him in the end. The highly anticipated fight in this tournament is between Vegeta and Hit. Vegeta stands against him with utmost confidence while having his hands behind his back. Hit looms over him from his great stature and seems intimidating for the other fighters, but Vegeta himself feels nothing from that. The fight begins and Vegeta zooms straight at Hit. He throws a few punches, but Hit manages to use his swiftness to remain untouched. Vegeta is still in his base form, so it's nothing for him to worry about. He continues on in Super Saiyan and ends up just punching Hit, who is too strong to actually be pushed back by him. Hit fights in a very defensive way and this frustrates the likes of Vegeta. Throw back already, he shouts, hurling himself straight at Hit. In the process of advancing toward him, the assassin utilizes his time skip to land a devastating strike to Vegeta. He is completely winded from the strike and falls onto one hand from feeling this immense pain. It's like he can't breathe for a bit, and this shows him just how strong Hit is. He can't take his power for granted, and staying in ordinary Super Saiyan won't do much for him. Vegeta shoots up and transforms simultaneously, entering his Super Saiyan God form. His godly form has an incredibly pressurizing aura and is well above the God form that he possessed at this time in canon. Hit seems unbothered by the waves of air that blast in his face, then Vegeta takes the initiative with his approach. Blasting forward, his speed is so immense that Hit can't properly react to him. Champa, who is levels above these two mortals, can see that his own fighter won't be doing much to block Vegeta's next attack. It's incredibly frustrating to see even the intricacies of Vegeta's move while Hit is just frozen in place. This is because he is too weak to respond to the incoming strike. Vegeta lands a clean punch straight to his face, launching him off the ring before he can even resort to his trusty time skip. He is launched straight off the arena and eliminated, meaning that Vegeta has taken down all of Universe 6's very strongest fighters. The universe rejoice, especially Beerus, because he has gotten the win over his brother and they return to their usual training. At this time, something odd occurs at the Capsule Corp. While Goten and Trunks are just studying at the vast complex, an individual appears out of literally nowhere. This is future Trunks. With longer hair and a muscular frame, he is significantly stronger than he was in canon. The training from the much stronger Saiyans had an effect on him, allowing him to access powers like Super Saiyan 3. He arrives heavily injured and almost bleeding out from an arrow wedged in his chest. Bulma attends to him as quickly as she can and then calls Whis so that the training warriors can return to Earth. Future Trunks, now healing from his wounds with the use of a sensu bean, shoots open his eyes and powers up on the spot. He transforms into Super Saiyan 3 and destroys the gazebo that they're in. He shows off a very muscular frame with long hair that flows up his back in his flowing aura. He speeds toward Goku, ripping off large chunks of grass from his speed. He strikes him straight on his forearm and literally doesn't damage him at all. After this happens, he reveals a weird dagger, then he tries to slice Goku only to see that he isn't the fighter he was trying to defeat before. He now looks totally different and he just retreats upon realizing that he made it to the past. "I'm sorry, I thought you were someone else." "It's fine, what happened with you?" Goku asks. He then proceeds to reveal the numerous events that have transpired in his own future timeline. Goku Black now reigns over the world, and Goku ends up asking about the mental makeshift dagger that he used to try and hurt him. Trunks realized after analyzing the Vegeta bow arrows that the metal in the tip was capable of breaking Goku's skin. Therefore, he uses the dagger and floods ki into it to make it a formidable weapon. He isn't great at using weapons since there aren't many fighters adept at doing so, but he looks very skilled in Goku's eyes. Vegeta then asks to spar his son to see how strong he's become. Future Trunks was significantly stronger than him when he returned to his own timeline, but Vegeta is sure that won't be the case now. After training with Whis for so long and achieving God Ki, the chances of his son from the future beating him in battle is practically naught. However, that isn't exactly what he's aiming to prove. He genuinely is just curious about gauging his son's strength. Future Trunks begins in Super Saiyan 3 and he sees no need to use the other forms. He believes that Super Saiyan 3, after the stamina issue is worked on a great deal, is a very useful form. As for him, his form is not mastered, but he can use it much more easily. Vegeta can tell this is the case because he enters the form extremely quickly. For them, when they tried to access the form initially, it could take up to a minute of hard work before they could change states. Future Trunks shouts, unsheathing his new special sword made out of the countless Vegeta bow arrows. He forcefully swings at his father with everything that he has, but he can't hit him at all. Vegeta makes the lightest, most elegant steps with the floor to make sure that he isn't hurt. Trunks jumps, then flies down with his sword aimed right over his head. Before he can land a cut on Vegeta, the prince grabs the massive sword by slamming both his hands into the flat edges of the incoming blade. This stops it right in place and the two push at each other for a short time before Trunks gives in and pulls back. "You are decently strong, but you fight in a manner that's too obvious. How did you manage to survive against this Goku Black person for so long?" Upon saying this makes the others shocked by his callous words. "Vegeta, be more understanding," Bulma says, berating him. Vegeta just scoffs in reaction but stays silent as well, awaiting his son's reply. "It was Goku. I trained just like how he did in the chamber. I continued to work my body to the highest of its abilities. I wanted to be like you, father. I found that having a steel mind was the only thing that kept me alive for this long," Future Trunks explains, bowing to his father. After this, the group decide that they want to see this warrior for themselves. The Saiyans and Piccolo arrive, with the Namekian taking the fight first. "How come he doesn't have the same weapons that Goku uses?" Piccolo asks. "I'm not sure. He tried to use the mace and things initially, but they didn't really do much. He stopped using them for a long time now," Trunks furthers. Goku is stunned upon hearing this, but Piccolo is smart enough to break apart this revelation. "It must be that those who are able to harness the full potential of these weapons must be divine and worthy of doing so. In the case of Goku Black being so evil, he doesn't seem like he is at all. It must be because of his evil nature. He doesn't possess the same attitude and divine powers as Goku to wield it. What a surprise," Piccolo says, cracking his knuckles. He does this while walking forward and stares down the warrior that remains floating in the sky. "How about it, Namekian? Show me how strong you really are," Goku Black says, making his stance. Piccolo smirks before blasting up at full speed. He takes Goku Black off guard with his initial speed and flies around him to land a powerful strike straight to his back. This forces him ahead and Piccolo blocks the following attacks that come from Goku Black. No matter how fast he tries to throw these punches and kicks, they only manage to land on the Namekian's forearms. He's simply too fast and durable to think twice about these incoming strikes. Goku Black overextends, trying his hardest to just land a hit on Piccolo for once, but he evades and lands a precise bomb of a punch that shoots him down into the ground like an arrow. The building crumbles to the ground from the pure force behind the strike, and Future Trunks is in awe. It reminds him of the Piccolo that he had to face in his own timeline all those years ago, but he's happy to see that such power is now on the good side. Goku Black slowly raises from within the rubble, wiping the dust off his clothes while cursing under his breath. Infuriated by this embarrassing performance against the mortal of all people, he shoots out the building and ends up attaining Super Saiyan from pure rage. He lands a punch to Piccolo's face and his punch clearly holds much more weight than before now. His punch creates a sizable shockwave, but Piccolo lands one of his own in retaliation, which sounds much more like an explosion. Goku Black is held back from the strike and the beatdown continues, with Piccolo just overpowering him completely. Piccolo wonders why this Goku Black person is so weak, but you can see that he simply isn't able to harness the power of Goku's body. It seems that the only way to utilize the power of the Saiyan body is to have a Saiyan mind, Piccolo says, with his arms crossed with Goku Black standing against him. There are bruises all over his body and blood dripping from his mouth and nose. You mortals spout nothing but nonsense. It's a shock that you've all managed to live so long, constantly killing each other for no apparent reason, Goku Black shouts in rage, wiping the blood from his mouth. I understand what you mean, we mortals are not perfect at all, but that gives you no right to get rid of us. Should we be killed due to our own nature? Piccolo questions, making Goku Black stop in place. I don't care about your nature, you kill and should be killed for your glaring imperfections. Only divine beings should reign in this world. I'm surprised that Saiyan over there has sided with you even though he is above you. You are lucky the divine being hasn't joined my cause and slaughtered you like livestock, Goku Black claims. Anyways, I don't want to have a conversation. I want to see you all gone from this universe, Goku Black declares, powering up further. His Super Saiyan aura becomes even more intense and he zooms forward to finally win Piccolo with a whipping strike. He wheezes in pain from taking the attack but looks furious upon receiving it. In reaction, he roars and his skin switches to red. His muscles enlarge and he enters the Super Namekian God state. Future Trunks is totally awestruck by this state and by how strong this Namekian is. Vegeta just scoffs, annoyed once again that a Namekian could contend with Saiyans like them. He always felt like power of this degree was reserved for the Saiyan race, but it's clear that isn't the case with Piccolo here. I'm gonna pulverize you, Piccolo declares coldly, before punching Goku Black straight in his face. With this insane multiplier to his strength, the gap between him and Goku Black is now immeasurable. Each punch that the Pseudo Saiyan attempts to land causes no damage or simply doesn't connect. Now on the ground, Piccolo dips under a wild swing to knee Goku Black straight in his gut. He follows with a punch to the jaw that ends up making the surrounding buildings crumble from the created shockwave. Grabbing his head with his mammoth hand, he repeatedly slams it into the ground before this divine being stops moving. The fight is over, they believe. Piccolo raises back up, dusting off his hands. He starts walking off, but the fallen fighter opens one eye and grabs a loose pole from the ground. Shouting and hurling it forward, he shoots it straight toward Piccolo with insane speed. Future Trunks can't even see him throw it, but Goku sees this happen from a mile away. He sweeps right in there, standing in between the likes of him and the Namekian. This metal pole is launched straight at his chest and he believes that his body will stop the incoming projectile. However, it does not. It stabs through his entire body and makes Goku cough out a lot of blood. He stumbles to the floor, ripping out the rusty, rugged pole from his chest. A large volume of blood comes pouring out from the hole in his torso, but Goku soon stands back up and starts healing somehow. His body is invincible against non-divine beings, but also possesses amazing healing abilities. It allows him to remain immortal, even in the face of a sufficiently divine or demonic threat. Goku, revealing his Vijaya bow, shoots off 3 arrows at once in Super Saiyan 3. The bows whistle as they cut through the air, stabbing right into Goku Black's body. Just as he manages to take out the metal arrows, 3 more are stabbed right into his body. Another 3 then land into him, which eventually cripple him. The excessive arrows that just continue to stab into his body cause him to tumble down to the floor, struggling to breathe and move properly. Every time he moves a muscle, he just feels an overwhelming sense of agony that keeps him pinned to the floor. Upon removing the several arrows in his body, the wounds heal once again, and 3 more arrows are hurled in his direction. This time he sidesteps and evades all of them, before erupting in the pink aura of Super Saiyan Rose. Here we are, your strongest form with a divine twist, Goku Black shouts out, smiling. He soars forward in speedy flight, taking Goku off guard by his speed. He receives a punch straight to his chest, shattering numerous ribs in his chest. An upwards kick that follows this punch launches him into the sky like he's been shot out of a cannon. The Saiyan flails around uncontrollably as he's been launched into the sky, entering Super Saiyan Blue in a hurry so that he isn't hurt like that again. In this new form of his, he reveals his mace as Goku Black comes flying straight at him and connects with a perfect shot to the head. The created shockwave even knocks himself back a little and causes gusts of air to shoot out in every direction. This dense outburst of air even knocks down Future Trunks, who is more than 100 meters away from them at the moment. The strike was so powerful that it literally snapped the neck of Goku Black. His head is stuck in a really awkward place, but it snaps right back into a normal position and looks completely fine after a few seconds. That hurt, Goku Black states, making Goku a little startled. The fight continues and the gap between the 2 warriors only continues to close. After long enough, the tide turns in Goku Black's favour. His power only continues to grow and grows at a greater rate than Goku's own. They can both heal from their attacks, but Goku Black's mind is almost merging with his body. He is growing more accustomed to using the Saiyan's body after every attack he receives, continuing to grow stronger and stronger. They can see that since Goku Black has this body of his, only Goku and Piccolo can damage him without the use of those divine weapons. Now that he has grown this strong, the 2 warriors aren't powerful enough to take him down. The 2 fighters retreat upon noticing how strong the fighter is. Shortly after, Zamasu then arrives. The 2 warriors fly side by side, locking in incredibly intimidating to the warriors that look up to them. Your attempt at resisting us is futile. Hand over your useless lives toward the cause, Goku Black orders, extending his hand toward the crew. There's only one option that we have left, Goku, Piccolo says. What is it, Piccolo? Goku asks, while still looking at the two fighters above. Even if Goku can't seem to overpower this fighter, he's a Saiyan. He'll be ready to die in the heat of battle if it means he can protect people like future Trunks who cannot protect themselves. We need the power of that god friend of yours. I'm sure they won't be able to resist erasure, Piccolo claims. Goku hates to have to resort to such a thing, but there simply isn't much that they can do here. With this ultra powerful Saiyan flying in front of them that could slaughter them at a moment's notice, he ends up giving in. After a few seconds of silence, the button is clicked and the king of everything Zeno arrives at the scene. A brief explanation is given to him on who these people are and what they've done, and he decides to take the liberty to erase them from reality altogether. Before they can even try and resist, their bodies turn to nothing but white light, finally transforming into descending clouds of sand. Future Trunks is more than relieved that this has happened, and peace returns to his timeline. Back on Earth though, somebody has made a surprise return. This is Frieza. The, in his eyes, new and improved Frieza. His state now resembles the fifth form of Cooler from his movie. He looks quite menacing and resembles the attribute a lot more mentally as well. He arrives and there literally isn't proper resistance for him. The Saiyans being Goku, Gohan and Vegeta are still in the future along with Piccolo. The others just aren't exactly the same sort of fighters as them. The only strong fighters on the planet are the likes of the strongest human fighters along with Goten and Trunks. Goten, Trunks, Krillin, Tien and Yamcha are the ones that confront the Emperor first. Frieza, Krillin says, almost as a question. He's never seen this state of his and can feel that his ki is slightly different. He senses it and can tell that it's him, but it still feels even more sinister than it initially felt, somehow. Yes, it's me, Frieza says, with a deeper and darker voice. I have reinvented myself as an individual and managed to achieve true unchallenged power. None of you can contest me, Frieza claims, pointing at the group. Krillin feels scared and gulps upon seeing him, however the only option that they have left is to fight. Alright kids, you two go Super Saiyan and we will use our own gimmick. The only way we beat this guy is together, Krillin says, trying to summon some form of courage in the group. Got it, Goten replies in understanding. Goten and Trunks simultaneously power up into Super Saiyan, while Goten's aura is much greater than Trunks's. Goten has inherited some of the abilities of Goku like what happened to Gohan. He powers up further and reaches Super Saiyan 2, even cracking the ground from his release of pure strength. Goten soars forward and is pretty much the first person to take on Frieza. The others will act merely as supplementary fighters to help him take down this foe. Tien and Krillin in Kaioken times 25 both use their most powerful solar flare and stun Frieza for just a short moment. However, Goten takes this chance to throw haymakers at the demon, landing punch after punch onto his body. Frieza can take the attacks though and laughs upon feeling them land on his body. Is this the sort of resistance that you put up against me? You might as well just roll over and let yourselves get killed, Frieza claims, while laughing at them contemptuously. The fighters don't reply to this comment because they hate to believe that the being might just be telling the truth. Goten continues to throw punch after punch until he backflips away and pulls his hands back. He sees the severity of the situation and knows that he must try his absolute hardest to get rid of this being. Everyone fall back, Goten shouts, shooting himself back as if he's an arrow. The ki blast starts growing in his palms and he shoots out his most powerful Kamehameha wave. The energy wave shoots straight into Frieza, who doesn't seem to move away when he sees it coming toward him. After the powerful attack, Goten stands there with bated breath as he waits to see the state of Frieza. The smoke slowly pulls across his skin, revealing just a bit of dirt that remains on his body. Other than that, there is nothing left on him. He is totally fine. Goten looks terrified by the sight of Frieza because he put everything into that attack. I should have trained more, Goten thinks to himself, berating himself for his weakness. Suddenly, Frieza speed blitzes the group and stabs his hand straight through the body of Trunks. He then does the same to Goten. The humans watch him do this and are in complete and utter shock. Tien gains the courage first and shoots his signature tri-beam straight at Frieza while his attention is diverted. The powerful attack rams into his back and causes him to step to the side from the impact. Other than that though, nothing much has happened. Frieza turns back to the three humans that stand before him and gives them the most devilish smile possible. This smile exudes nothing but evil, and Krillin trembles upon meeting eyes with this demonic being. Why are you doing this? Why did you kill those innocent children? Krillin asks. To be honest, Bolly, I just don't care anymore. I used to have a greater sense of direction. I wanted to expand my empire. I wanted to assert my dominance as the strongest. However, now that I've become this greater being, I only wish to see destruction. "I want to see the world burn," Frieza shouts, making the ground rumble from his booming voice. In that moment, the Saiyans from the future arrive and appear at the scene soon after once they sense Frieza's presence. As soon as they teleport there though, the Saiyans just look and see the dead, bleeding corpses of Goten and Trunks. Gohan and Goku have their vision stuck on Goten while Vegeta's is stuck on the young Trunks. He can't believe what has happened and they can't help but just remain there frozen. As they continue to stare, their power signatures constantly increase. "You did this?" Goku asks, furious with what Frieza has done. The clouds above them darken and look more unstable from this release of energy. "Of course I did, Goku. It's an amazing thing to see you all here so that I can take you all down at once. I'll finish off with those humans and your families to put the icing on top of the cake once I'm done. Let's see if you weaklings can take me down now," Frieza declares, more confident than ever. Goku begins shouting and flies straight at Frieza, swinging his mace straight into his face. Before Frieza is launched away, Gohan arrives at his back in Super Saiyan 3 and kicks him right into the sky. Frieza is sent flailing and rolling around when being launched up, and he meets the full wrath of Vegeta's close-up Big Bang attack. The attack slams straight into Frieza, exploding violently. The light is so bright that the humans are forced to either shield their eyes or look away. Once it dies down though, Frieza stands ahead of the warriors that just charged him and is now bleeding across his body. Their attacks did damage, serious damage, but Frieza doesn't seem bothered. The humans are grateful to see him in this state, but look even more frightened by the second from noticing that Frieza seems unbothered by these injuries. Now, for me to steal the show, let me show you Ultimate Frieza. In this odd demonic form of his, he powers up and makes the ground tremble intensely. The Saiyans struggle to gauge just how much power Frieza is managing to output, all without an ounce of God Ki to rely on. His skin switches from white to a pristine scintillating gold. His aura follows a similar colour scheme and Frieza is revealed in all his glory. His power has reached new heights and Goku readies himself for the incoming battle. He powers up into Super Saiyan Blue right away and so do the fighters that stand by his side. The three fighters stand beside each other and enter their stances while Frieza does the exact same. "Come on guys, I'll show you just who you're trying to contest with," Frieza declares, signalling for them to advance. Goku clashes straight with Frieza and starts wrestling with him. They tussle for some time and Goku catches him with a mean strike with his Garda straight to the jaw. Vegeta rushes in from beside him and crashes his knee straight into his chest, launching him into the air. Frieza remains alert and perceptive, looking ready to intercept any more attacks that come his way. Gohan launches a full-on Masenko beam from behind him, forcing Frieza to throw himself off course so he's not destroyed in the blast. As he forces himself out the way though, Goku charges straight for him and swings his mace back as far as he can. This gives him the chance to unload with the most powerful shot that he can throw. He utilizes his growing rage and despair to fuel this vehement swing, screaming as he does so. The collision is bomb-like and leaves Frieza with a ringing sensation in his ear. Grabbing his ear in pain, he looks down to see a literal pool of blood resting in his palm. He just looks forward in shock before he is overwhelmed by the rage that grows inside him. He charges straight for Goku only to receive a Big Bang attack from Vegeta to the side. This attack launches him through the sky in a cloud of smoke that slowly thins to reveal his bleeding body once again. Once he comes to slow himself down, his skin returns to white and he can't believe that this has happened. "No, this can't be happening," Frieza whispers to himself, taken aback by the sight of his ordinary form. Just as he begins to grow angrier and angrier, he goes on to try and shout to then just receive an arrow straight to his chest. The arrow whistles through the air and in this lesser form, Frieza can't properly react. Coughing out blood, the arrow is made to take down demons like him. The malevolent Frieza drops to his knees, struggling to raise up as these three enraged Saiyans stroll up to him. "You killed our children, and you now must pay with your own life," Goku shouts, letting an arrow fly right into his neck. Coughing out blood from the pain, Vegeta finishes the fighter off with a final punch that takes the life out of him. Frieza has been defeated. Following this, the Dragon Balls are gathered to allow for Goten and Trunks to be revived. Here what now comes is the Tournament of Power. Goku, Gohan, Vegeta and Piccolo continue their training and two people start showing great progress toward the power of Ultra Instinct. These are Goku and Piccolo. In a spar with each other, both fighters unlock the form of UI Omen. When Piccolo is in the form, he is not a Saiyan and so his body doesn't always form a transformation to incorporate the technique. Instead, it just gives him glowing eyes and a UI aura and that's pretty much it. The two have a great battle where pretty much all of their attacks they throw at each other don't properly land. Now for the previous fight between Goku and Toppo, Goku shows a stellar performance and takes down Toppo with ease. This alarms the surrounding universes because he managed to take down a literal god of destruction in training. The other universes won't be able to just summon a fighter of similar strength. However, Goku's hiding his main trump card, Ultra Instinct. The tournament is soon to begin and Universe 7 form their squad. The members are Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, Goten, Trunks and Masaroshi. Goten and Trunks are needed to fill up the ranks with the most powerful people that they can. The fight soon begins and the humans stay close together because they feel a little scared about just wandering off alone. They feel like they'll be stronger if they stay close together. I mean, it's their only chance of actually doing something in this event. Goku is first attacked by the likes of the Pride Troopers who arrogantly believe that they can take him down altogether. What's a little durable body to them? After several fights, they've become experienced and synchronized as a battle unit. Taking somebody down stronger than them individually shouldn't be much of a challenge for them. The numerous soldiers fly straight off at Goku, who evades their attacks with ease. Even without using Ultra Instinct, it certainly looks like he's in that state. The way he flows around each attack is like that of a fluid. Just as it's about to land on him, he makes just the right movement so that it doesn't. Here Goku takes down every fighter with ease and moves on to the next targets. Across from them, Piccolo and Gohan have arrived at Toppo, who confidently stands before them. Toppo powers up, smirking as his white beard flows in his aura. He speeds off toward the two, first clashing with Piccolo. The two fighters stop right in place and Piccolo takes the full-on force behind his advance easily. The impact causes the ground to crack, but it's not like Piccolo is hurt himself. Another few punches come his way, but he parries or manages them easily. When he sees the opportunity, he throws back numerous strikes that Toppo struggles to deal with. Wildly swinging, desperate to land at least one hit on Piccolo, he swiftly slips under it and strikes him so hard in the stomach that he coughs out blood and saliva. Staggering away, he grits his teeth and decides to up the stakes, using his aura of a god form. He is immediately imbued with and invigorated by the power of God Ki, making him level stronger. He charges straight back toward Piccolo and takes him off guard by his increase in speed. He manages to land a punch to his jaw, launching him several meters back in the process. Gohan, seeing his comrade receive such a strike, wants to step in right away to try and help. "No, Gohan, you won't be needed here," Piccolo claims, wiping the blood from his mouth. He spits out the remaining blood in his mouth and powers up himself. His antennae lift and he enters his own Super Namekian god form. Now enhanced by God Ki as well, the tables have turned back in his favour before Toppo even had the chance to take advantage of that. Toppo charges forward in a forceful advance that could topple almost anyone that wouldn't expect it. He hurls forward his fist that is surrounded by a crackling aura of Ki. Piccolo throws the strike down in a flowing manner before landing a punch straight to his face, followed by a whipping hook to his body. The strikes cripple him significantly and Piccolo does not relent with his beatdown. He continuously strikes Toppo with everything that he has, asserting his dominance as the superior fighter. His adversary once had confidence, but all that he feels now is defeat and despair. He has several broken bones from Piccolo's brutal assault and coughs blood as he retreats. Piccolo leaps straight into the air and performs an extravagant flip before slamming the sole of his shoe straight into Toppo's stomach. This is all that he needs to send him right off the ring. "What a useless group of warriors," Vegeta says, kicking the likes of Kale out the ring before she even has the chance to begin using her berserk state. "I was hoping for a greater match," Vegeta says, before he then eliminates another opponent that he sees in the vicinity. "I was hoping for the same too. It looks like we'll be winning this tournament quite quickly then. It makes sense from all our training," Piccolo says back. "It does. Nobody should be able to match us after training under an angel. Hell, I'm sure we could take down a bunch of the gods of destruction that sit up there," Vegeta confidently claims, pridefully giving powerful gazes into the crowd. Goku locks straight onto Jiren, charges at him and throws a punch to begin their fight. He lands it straight on his body and he swiftly sees that there is no movement at all. He takes the attack like it was just a light shove and Goku steps back before he is hit himself. For some reason though, Jiren doesn't even bother attacking him in his retreat. Goku is a little puzzled by his unwillingness to fight and takes this instead as a challenge. Powering up into Super Saiyan 3, he roars and shoots himself forward. This new state gives him a more battle-tailored mind and he isn't willing to joke around any longer. Throwing the most powerful punch that he can in this state, he manages to knock Jiren back a step. The Grey Fighter looks alarmed by his powerful strike and looks ready to try and take on some of the other attacks that will be bound to come his way. Goku continues on with a combination of attacks consisting of punches and kicks. Feinting with a jab to the face, he zips around his body to land and hurl a kick straight at his jaw from the back. Jiren is caught by the strike and his torso is thrown right off balance, but that's all that really happens. Wow, what a tough cookie, Goku thinks, before upping his form to Super Saiyan God. In this pristine new godly state, he feels like this will be enough. No, it will be above and beyond what he needs. Jiren tries to attack him, this time infuriated by his inability to hurt him. Jiren slugs forward his fist and lands. The shockwave created catches the attention of some of the surrounding fighters. As the likes of Vegeta, Gohan and Piccolo catch a glimpse of what's happening, they then turn their heads. They can sense Jiren's key signature and know that he won't be enough. It's a done deal for Jiren now. Goku takes another punch to his gut with ease, swerving right out the way of one aimed at his head. A kick then is held straight at his lower torso, but he parries the hit so that practically no damage or pain is caused. In this godly state of his, the gap between him and Jiren only continues to grow. Jiren's power is constant and he is revealing a large portion of what he has reserved here, while Goku is nowhere near his full power. Goku was entertained and very interested in getting a fight with Jiren, but now sees that it will be of no use to him if he continues to literally just stand where he is. It's pretty annoying that he has to fight in this way and so seeks to end this properly. Speed blitzing Jiren, he wallops him with a single strike before he has the chance to show off his full power. He is thrown right off the ring and the Universe are given the win soon after. The Universe win in a spectacular fashion, with most of the lesser fighters not even able to eliminate a single target. The others were quick to sweep up the enemies and allow the weaker fighters to last a disproportionately long amount of time. Now what is to come is the Broly movie. Here Frieza isn't alive because he never participated in the Tournament of Power. As a pure manifestation of evil and after killing the likes of Goten and Trunks, he isn't exactly given the luxury of a body or any sort of privileges really. This means there is no Frieza to take him off planet though. Instead, something odd happens as Goku is meditating on Earth. In his training, he senses an odd signature appear out of nowhere. The group are just trying to spend some time with their families as of right now, rejoicing after their achievements in the Tournament of Power. He senses quite a strong individual and his power signature only seems to be increasing. He isn't aware of any other people in the universe as strong as this and decides to check things out to see what's going on. Taking a bespoke spaceship fabricated by Bulma with his interests in mind, he is off to see what's happening. Gohan has quite a bit of work at the moment and Vegeta isn't bothered about going to look for some weak signature. Piccolo also remains meditating on Earth and is waiting to see what Goku finds. Arriving on planet Vampa, he soon meets the likes of Paragus. "Hey, over here," Paragus calls out with sheer desperation. Goku was already looking in his direction and flies over to see what's going on. Landing ahead of them, he has his Garda ready to go along with his bow fastened to his back. Here he meets Broly for the first time and takes him back to Earth where Paragus meets Vegeta. "Vegeta," Paragus calls out, gritting his teeth with fury. "What about it? Who are you?" Vegeta asks, as Paragus only seems to get angrier and angrier. "You must be a son. Your selfish father banished us because he was scared of my son's power. He nearly killed us to make sure that you would stay in the limelight," Paragus shouts, causing Goku to stand in between them. "I don't speak for my father. My father wasn't the most moral man and did things in the past that I would not exactly co-sign," Vegeta replies. "Don't worry about things like that. Things have changed now, I'm sure," Goku insists, slowly but surely placating the aged Saiyan. "You say your son was sent away because he was too strong. Just how strong is he?" Minutes later, Vegeta stands ahead of Broly, who doesn't really look that willing to fight. Suddenly, he speeds off toward the burly fighter and lands a kick straight to his stomach, launching him back. Broly heaves and coughs from taking that hit, and Paragus looks annoyed by his son looking so crippled from that single strike. "Don't stay down, fight back, Broly," he calls out. Broly shouts and charges straight at Vegeta. He throws a full power punch, but Vegeta steps beside this attack to strike him straight in the abdomen. He then uppercuts him, throwing his head all the way back. Finally, with Broly's eyes taken off him, he charges a ki blast and slams it into his chest. Broly ends up slamming into a rocky mountain beside them, and Vegeta remains there ready to see him return. "Why doesn't he transform? I don't want to just fight using our base forms," Vegeta says. "Transformation? Broly lost his tail and he can only use the power of Uzaru in his humanoid state, but it makes him go berserk. He'll lose himself," Paragus replies. "No, Super Saiyan," Vegeta says, turning to Paragus. "Super Saiyan, like the Saiyan of legend, he exists." Vegeta can't help but give off a mischievous smile before looking back to an advancing Broly. "Watch for yourself." Flying straight over Broly and into the sky, the Goliath flies right after him with a shout. Vegeta stops in flight and begins shouting, with the initial outburst of air stopping Broly in place. He continues to grow and grow his strength until it happens. The transformation into Super Saiyan. Paragus' eyes along with Broly's are wide with shock as they watch this happen. "He's the Super Saiyan. Prince Vegeta claimed the title of the legendary Super Saiyan," Paragus shouts, placing his hands on his head as he can't believe it. Goku just chuckles upon seeing him so awestruck and stays silent since he doesn't want to ruin Vegeta's fun. He'll have all the time in the world later to be told everything about their countless transformations. Broly's initial strike doesn't even make Vegeta move, and he hurls him into the ground with a single punch. Broly struggles to compete against Vegeta and soon ends up using his Ikari state. In his Ikari state, he has become so strong that he ends up beating up Super Saiyan Vegeta. This is certainly a sight for the others, and it did take him a long while to catch up to his power though. Unwilling to accept his inferiority, he enters Super Saiyan 3 and swiftly throws Broly to the ground where he keeps him restrained. The fight is called off soon after because they can clearly see that Broly has lost control. A firm hit on the head knocks him out and reverts him to his base form, and that's all they need right now. Following that, Broly begins training with the crew and makes astounding progress. They immediately see that his control is literally non-existent and don't want to give him all their resources like GOKU and things. He already has a lot of power himself, and all they need to do is get him to harness that power. Once he does that, he can then move on to bigger and better things. Goku, on Earth with the other Saiyans, is preparing to head back to Beerus' planet where he can continue his training, but as he is holding his guard and just admiring it, he sees somebody flying straight toward him in a spaceship. Holding onto his Garda, he sees this person emerge from the ship and is Merus. "Greetings Goku, I mean no harm and just want to have a conversation with you," Merus says. "Alright then," Goku says, a little anxious but understanding nonetheless. He then explains the threat of Moro and how the prisoner is a great threat to the universe now that he's free. Goku agrees to go along with him to see what's happening, and the others follow along with him too. These people are Piccolo, Vegeta and Gohan, and they want to make sure that they have sufficient firepower because anything could happen really. From what Merus has told them about Moro, he is pretty evil in nature, so his arrows might be more crippling to him. However, Moro is not a demon, so nothing will actually happen. He hopes that his Vijaya bow makes this battle a very seamless experience, and they arrive on New Namek to meet him there. Goku reveals his bow and places 3 arrows on the string, walking toward the magician. "Wow, are we not going to at least welcome each other before fighting? Where are your manners?" Moro asks. "From what I've heard, I'm not the only person without manners out of the two of us," Goku says, readjusting his grip on his bow and the 3 arrows. "Maybe you're right," Moro says, before blasting off toward Goku. In his advance, Goku enters Super Saiyan 3 and shoots off the 3 arrows right away. The ki-enhanced arrows whistle through the air and slam straight into Moro's torso, shredding through his aged flesh. The arrows remain wedged deep inside his body and he coughs out blood from the crippling wounds he receives. It's not like he's a demon, so these arrows aren't dealing any more damage than normal. However, just because they can pierce his skin and reach so deep into his body, they are still very lethal. Moro is not a demon, and so these wounds do not kill him, but many more keep coming, and soon his torso has more than 12 arrows deep inside it. He coughs out blood and drops down to his knees, trying his hardest to rip the arrows from his body. He grabs them and rips them out one by one, while globules of energy start soaring into his body. As this happens, the open wounds seal soon after. Goku does not like the look of what's happening here, and soon feels his own energy being taken. He fires off numerous arrows straight at Moro, and Super Saiyan 3 is all that he needs. The several waves of arrows wedge deep into Moro's decrepit frame, even cutting through his neck and vital organs. Even after absorbing energy, Moro cannot continue. After this brutal assault, the Planet Eater falls onto his back, lifelessly looking at the sky. "Well, that was very anticlimactic," Vegeta says, watching Moro's motionless body. "I was expecting him to be at least a little bit stronger." "Oh well," Piccolo says, also disinterested. Goku just throws his bow back onto his back and the Saiyans return to Earth shortly after. Merus is more than grateful for their help and is dumbfounded by Goku's strength. He thought that all of them would need to give it their all to take down the likes of Moro, but it does seem that spending all that time in prison withered away his magic power. Soon after, Granola gets his wish to become the strongest in the universe, only being granted a half year left of his life in the process. He surpasses even Goku as the strongest, but that doesn't mean he could contend with his divine mace. The Heaters manipulate the Saiyans into approaching Granola as if he's the villain and arrive at Planet Cereal. Gohan, Vegeta, Goku and Piccolo fly in a 4, all with their backs to each other as they scan the surroundings. Piccolo and Goku have now become even more proficient with their use of Ultra Instinct. They now take this as their first chance to show that off. A blast soars toward Goku, but his body flips right over it while Piccolo's head dips down to evade it. A few more blasts head their way and Goku smacks away the final one using his divine mace. Soon after, Granola reveals himself and soars toward the 4 fighters. Goku readies himself, entering Super Saiyan 3 as he firmly grips his Garda. He drops past a swing at his face, slamming his Garda straight into his open abdomen. Even with the signature shockwave of his mace, Granola doesn't grimace or look at all concerned about the attack he has just received. Piccolo takes him off guard with several piercing special beam cannons, but his base form is too weak. The cannons aren't penetrable enough to pierce through his flesh and skin, leaving just minor irritating bruises on the palm that he uses to block them. But this surprises the crew because they've managed to find yet another fighter out of nowhere that contends with their strength. For most of the foes that had done so previously, they were already long defeated and they've already grown past the previous versions of themselves at those points in time. Goku looks a little interested in the fight they're about to receive, and so does everyone else. Gohan arrives by his father's side, powering up into his own Super Saiyan God form along with his father. The father-son duo race forward, with Gohan shooting Piccolo's Masenko straight at the fighter. His eyes are too precise, as he can process and work with the sensory information he receives in almost an instant. After flying over the Masenko shot in his direction, he then blocks the mace attack that Goku subsequently throws. This doesn't make him a complete god though. Gohan is smart enough to take advantage of the weaknesses in his style, finding chinks in the armor. He lands a punch straight onto his chest, being prepared for the strike that is to come his way. He receives a powerful punch, but it only lands on his forearms, meaning that most of the force behind it is only applied through his arms and not his whole body. Goku then fires off an arrow at Granola with his eyes currently away from him, but he snaps onto the flying arrow with ease. Tracking it like a robot, a single key blast from his index finger destroys the arrow before it can even reach him. Whoa, Goku says, taken aback by this fighter's speed and skill. Even after fighting adept mages like Moro and other fighters, they never seem to be able to handle arrows just as well as Granola seems to have done just now. Gohan is taken aback by his speed and suddenly gets rocked by a punch straight to his head. Another then lands on one of his vital points. The two fighters retreat, not looking to just enter a fight blind and lose. As much as they wanted to test the waters, they know what the heaters have told them. This guy is a threat and they have to take him out now. Both fighters begin shouting and making the area around them rumble from the release of energy. Their voices grow dark as they envelop in pristine auras that resemble the galaxy. Gohan's hair returns to black while Goku's glows up into a silver-white hue. Goku, now in mastered Ultra Instinct, stands beside his son that now utilizes the power of Ultra Instinct Omen. You two haven't got long before it's our turn. I'm not even giving you a second more than we agreed, Vegeta shouts. Goku and Gohan zoom forward, with Goku taking the lead with his much faster flight. He almost phases in and out of reality, appearing right behind Granola in a flash. He can track him somewhat though, and catches Gohan's fist that was hurtling toward him. Goku cocks back his mace and swings it straight toward Granola, landing a clean shot straight on his ribcage. A perfect strike, Granola is launched forward while Gohan's body must use its Ultra Instinct abilities to duck under him. A stream of droplets of blood are left to follow him as he is thrown forward tens of meters in only a fraction of a second. Granola is puzzled for a second but then fades into nothing. From below, the real Granola reveals himself and launches an intense beam of red ki from his right index and middle fingers. The blast is aimed straight for not just Goku but one of his vitals as well. The attack is too obvious though, as his body manages to move itself just enough so that the blast scrapes past the outside of his arm. It causes some damage, leaving a sizable wound on his shoulder, but that's all it does. No lethal damage is caused. Granola continues the battle and aims for Gohan first. Extending his arm straight at him, his nimble and flowing body makes it almost impossible for his hand to reach him. In that same movement, he knocks his outreached hand to the side in the form of a parry. Granola continues to charge forward like a mindless beast, only to see Goku slip past Gohan in his retreat. Swinging his mace upward and into his right ribcage area, there is a loud crack and scream from Goku hitting the mark. I swear he always does this to make us watch him win, Piccolo says, annoyed. To them, it looks like they won't be getting a chance to fight. Granola is down. He coughs out blood, holding the side of his body in agony as the side of the ribcage that received that attack is now shattered. He continues to just bleed profusely, coughing out alarming volumes of the substance while lightly holding onto his broken ribs. This entire attack has just puzzled Granola though. He explicitly wished to become the strongest fighter in the universe, but still he's been injured so greatly. How? I wish to be the strongest, Granola whispers to himself, catching Goku's attention. What did you say? I wish to become the strongest in the universe. Your attack shouldn't have hurt me as much as it did. I'm supposed to be invincible in this realm, Granola shouts, before coughing from the intense pain in his side. Oh, it's just this mace thingy I use. It makes my hits much harder for some reason, Goku replies. I can tell, Granola says, hissing in pain. He is truly and utterly crippled after taking such an impactful attack head on, and is certainly in no shape to continue fighting. Soon after this moment, his Namekian mentor Minato is there to console him. He also heals him and the others. Granola is happy to be back to normal and is sorry about how he previously thought Saiyans were. They did invade his planet and slaughter his people, but he assumed that they were all of that nature. He's just happy to see that's no longer the case from what he's seeing. Soon after though, Gas makes his arrival. The being has wished for himself to become the strongest in the universe, and Vegeta wants a piece of the pie. It's my turn now. Let me show you the limitless power of the Saiyans. You might overpower us now, but in minutes I'll claim the throne, Vegeta claims. Let me show you the true power of ego, Vegeta shouts, opening his eyes that are now of a violet hue. In a single power-up alongside Piccolo, the transformation is complete. Piccolo begins using the mastered Ultra Instinct technique, giving him a unique silver skin colour. Vegeta enters the form of Ultra Ego that he has attained through training under Beerus for a brief time. Shooting himself forward at Gas, he receives a pitchfork straight to the stomach, then Piccolo is nearly struck with a large battle hammer. However, this hammer that is thrown right at him is too slow and he can dodge it very easily. Piccolo then shouts and launches his special beam cannon, managing to pierce straight through Gas' stomach. Piccolo took down Raditz with a mere prototype of the technique while being much weaker than him, and has now refined the technique over decades since that point. So even if Gas is stronger than him, Piccolo's technique can do the job. The hole in his stomach leaves him very crippled, and this gives Vegeta the opportunity to pounce. Throwing punch after punch, he continues to beat down the warrior that can barely do anything to protect himself. Vegeta punches Gas straight to the floor, and then Gas creates a large glowing weapon with 4 sharp ends on it. It looks large enough to take a serious jab at one's limbs in one strike, but Vegeta swiftly turns around as he sees it reaching his back and grabs onto it. The weapon lights up even more than it once was, and the entire object is translated into energy through Vegeta's special destruction abilities. Gas is caught in the heat of that blast, and Piccolo shoots yet another special beam cannon to keep him pinned to the ground. The final special beam cannon, piercing his lung, leaves him totally weakened now. The fighters have claimed their victory, and Granola has just watched all of this transpire in awe. These fighters are so elegant yet powerful with their attacks and work so well together in battle. He believed that there would be a serious threat with Gas, as he had used the same wish that he did. However, with Goku and his friends, they manage to keep the upper hand. The Heaters are forced to flee before anything else can happen to them, and Granola just thanks the group so sincerely for their contributions. Goku gives a thumbs up back to him with a smile, while Gohan smiles back. The other two fighters are too stuck up to break their serious warrior-like demeanors. However, they are still secretly pleased to hear such a compliment about themselves. With the end of the Granola saga, Frieza is not alive to have been training in any sort of room of spirit and time. This means that there is no emergence of Black Frieza. So the group are able to peacefully return back to Earth, finishing yet another day at the office. So that will conclude what if Goku had the Monkey God's powers. Please tell me something you liked about this what if, or something that I should improve on for the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.